Alright, and hitting going live now. Hello, everybody, and thank you again for coming out tonight. Me, Andre, and we have a special visitor. Took some time travel to get back to 1987 to watch some 87 cars at Talladega. My name is Cody, alongside Andre, and we got a special guest today in the booth who will be handling the pit road reporting and infield care center, Alonso Chicano. You guys looking forward to this race?
Yeah, Talladega's looking a little bit different nowadays. It's a lot more egg-shaped than it used to be there, Cody. Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Nearly 4 hours if we were to estimate how long this is going to take. And with a smaller field size, it's kind of going to be a test of endurance. It's going to be a test of focus. How long can these guys make these laps and stay in their element before maybe the fatigue starts to get to them? That's what I'm going to be watching for, and it's going to be fascinating to see.
Yeah, how about you, Alonso? Looking forward to today's race?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've definitely been looking forward to this day to make my broadcast debut. So first of all, I'd like to thank Andre and Cody for having me on. But this is going to be a really interesting race. It's going to take a lot of durability from these drivers just to stay focused, like
All right,
Andre
boys,
said.
driver's meeting time.
It is
Looks like
quite
it's
the
just going to be
endurance
9 of us
race. These
today,
cars are
but
not easy
that's
to
all right.
handle, and it should make for quite the show.
Reminder,
Yeah,
367 laps,
absolutely.
500
As you
miles.
just hear,
It's
Bryson
going to be a long
Hixenbaugh
one
going
out there.
through the
Take control of your car.
drivers
It is
meeting currently
difficult
for the
on old
race.
tires, getting through 1 and 2 clean. We got a bunch of money up for awards. The technical stage, I guess you could call it, would be into lap 202. There's $10 up for the leader of that. That's when the 1987 race was called for rain. There won't be a caution for it, but you get money. So, a couple other awards here. Pole award, about ready to be given out. Most laps led. An award for the most positions gained, sponsored by Rich Petrucco. There'll be an award for the fastest lap, and also for the worst finishing driver with 0 incidents. And then money to the top 5. If there are any lapped cars, they will be restarting to the inside on cautions. So it is single file with lapped cars to the inside. Lapped cars, you don't have to restart up at the front if you don't want to. I know a lot of guys like to get out of the way, but you can if you want to. If there are any missed shifts on restarts, I'm willing to wave black flags for those. Just let me know. And otherwise, have fun.
Yep, and there you have it. Just finishing up the drivers' meeting there. Got right in the middle of that. As Bryson mentioned, there is some prizes up for today's race, which I'll put up on the screen here now. As you can see, the winner today will get $40. Second will get $25. Third will get $15. Fourth, $10. And fifth place, $5. And throughout the rest of the field, there's a pole award for $10, most lap led award for $5. The most positions gained being sponsored by Rich Petrucco for $20. The revisionist award for $10, which is the leader at the end of lap 202, as Bryson mentioned, which was the final lap of the 1987 race. The hot lapper award for $5, and something we don't have to fix award for $5 as well. Alonso, I believe that you also decided to make a last minute add to the award list.
Yeah, we'll be giving out the Spark Plug Award, and it'll be something that I will, talk with Andre and Cody about who we think is like most deserving for this. It is kind of like the old Hard Charger Award. It's gonna go to someone who had a really good race, kind of really impressed us. Maybe we didn't expect them to run that good, or also possibly led a few laps or led a lot of laps and then just didn't quite get that win. So that's also going to be something to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Andre, why don't we get into some picks here today? So, who are you choosing for today's race?
I was just going to say, we got a few minutes before quals get started. It'd be a good time to talk about picks. You read my mind, Cody. I'm going to go with the same pick that I took for the IROC race last night. It's going to be Jonathan Delaney. We mentioned that, mile and a halfs and oval tracks like this maybe aren't his forte. He's more of a road racer as well as a really skilled plate racer. But the thing about John, man, is he's really fast anywhere you put him. It's just a matter of can he keep the car underneath him? Can he preserve his equipment? And I think if he can pull that off tonight, he's definitely going to have the speed.
All right, and how about you, Alonso? Who do you think today is going to be the winner of today's race?
I'm gonna go with a bit of an underdog. I'm gonna go with Mason Lowry. He's a really solid driver. He can really take care of his car. I've been watching him during practice, and he's been making a lot less mistakes than most of these other guys. And this is a long race, so I feel like that's really gonna pay out for him. And I think he's gonna surprise everyone and maybe get that W.
All right, and if I had to choose today, I'm going to go ahead and choose the number 24 of Kevin Steele. It said that he put in about 100 laps of practice today for today's race, and I think it's going to show at the end. We all kind of made the agreement not to pick Bryson because we expect him to either wreck from the lead or finish 35 laps ahead of everybody else. Would you agree with that?
Probably. I think you're right.
Wreckers or checkers? Not really a term that I would use to describe B-Hicks normally. But when it comes to road courses and some of these other more technical tracks, it seems like that is his MO. He's either just really fast and he's winning by a mile or more, technically, or he just completely makes a mistake and somehow messes up, like at the IROC Auto Club race where he spun out pretty much on his own, sacrificing the lead. That was something. So BX is an incredibly talented driver. But if you were a betting man, I think his odds would still be relatively level, simply because sometimes that speed leads to just going beyond what the car is capable of.
Yes, absolutely. So while we're under qualifying here, let's go to focus on the car here as we see Cameron Stone taking a couple laps. Alonzo, why don't you discuss some of the pit laps in which we may have see cars pit?
Well, these tires are definitely not going to hold up as much as the fuel level in these cars. I think these drivers are going to want to maybe short pit. I think that's going to take quite the advantage. So I expect them to maybe start to think about pitting maybe around like lap 45 of the run, I believe. If not even sooner, if you want to short pit, honestly. I had the opportunity to test drive this car at this track with this setup at one of the practice sessions they had up, and it was not an easy ride. And these tires were giving out a lot, so I expect people to make a lot of pit stops given the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be seen, had the chance to hop in some practice sessions throughout the week as well, and just see how these cars were handling. As we currently see Bryson Hixenbaugh at the top of the board at a 29.23, and Kevin Steele about 2/10 back. It's going to be bunched up, especially with only 9 cars showing up, but definitely going to show who can handle these cars over 367 laps. Andre, it's been discussed. This is going to be a very long race.
Oh yeah, it's going to be one for the record books in terms of length, because 300 and I believe it's 47 laps, if I'm remembering correctly. That's quite a ways to go in these 87 cars. You have to remember the modern day cars that we race around Darlington, they have a lot of downforce, and the tires are a lot more grippy. They can carry a lot more corner speed, and it doesn't sound like it would make that much of a difference, but it really does. The overall lap time for modern day stock cars is so much quicker around this track than these old 87s trying to manhandle them and slide them around the track. But you talked about how much pitting is going to be necessary, especially with how much the tires are going to wear versus the fuel consumption, which is going to add a bit of a conundrum. Like, do you pit for the tires, or do you try to stay out and just run out the fuel tank? But what I want to know is, when it comes to pit road adjustments, what kind of gambles are these guys going to take? Because Darlington is a track that's different on both ends. You've got the wide sweeping turns 1 and 2, and you got that sharp 3 and 4. And if your car's maybe not feeling too hot in 3 and 4, you could free it up, but then you risk being really loose in 1 and 2. So I'm curious to see if they make any tire pressure changes, anything like that, or if they just kind of leave that alone. Also, because I'm not fully aware, you guys were more involved in the organizing of this event than I was. So clarify for me, as well as the viewers at home, because maybe the viewers at home are wondering, is there going to be a tire limit, or can they come down pit road and take as many sets as they like?
Yeah, there's. I'll let Alonzo talk on that. It is 367 laps, by the way, Andre. Alonzo, I believe, from what I heard, that there is no tire limits for today.
Yeah, I believe so too. So, like I said, definitely I do expect these guys to take tires any chance they get, especially since it's not a big field. I just that's what I would do, honestly. This track is gonna eat up your tires, and you're really gonna want as many fresh sets as you can.
Absolutely. And it looks like we're about to go to the grid here with the field starting to grid up. Something interesting that can be seen from this qualifying, it looks like that Jonathan Delaney and Jimmy Costarellis tied on lap time at a 29.196 apiece. That
That's
is
incredible.
straight incredible. We may have seen it previously in our broadcast. I believe it was 3 weeks ago for the ARCA race, as I bring up all my screens because I can't use software right to make sure I'm on the right screen. But as we saw, these drivers, they're going to go for it, and Bryson Hixenbaugh, who we all thought would be on pole, is currently in third. So looking forward to it. Had a couple guys not qualify. Quick run through the field.
Leader is allowed to go after the pace car pulls off. You do not have to wait for green flag.
I'll start it off. Jonathan Delaney got pole. Jimmy Costarello second. Bryson Hixenbaugh third. Kevin Steele fourth. Bryce Hoffman fifth. Cameron Stone sixth. Wayne Grassy seventh. Mason Lowry eighth. And Chad Edwards rounding out the field. Hopefully we have some nice
Hey,
clean
good
racing.
to see you there, Wayne.
And hopefully we have some excitement towards the end of
Good to
this.
see you.
I think we're definitely going to see some excitement. We are going around one time. The lights are already off on the pace car immediately. We're going to come around turns 1 and 2, make our way back towards the front stretch, and we will get underway. But you mentioned Bryson Hixenbaugh, who we thought was going to get the pole. He's back there in P3, not by much, 0.04 behind both of the front row drivers, as they pretty much tied in lap time. So definitely competitive lap times all across the board. You really have to get back to 6th before you see any severe lap time drop off. So the competition here is going to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, and before we get rolling here, just want to say to make sure to thank our sponsor. We kill our pets, you eat them, and thanks for that. So let's get excited here, and it looks like they're off with
Green, green, green.
Jonathan Delaney jumping out to an early lead over Jimmy Costarellos.
It was a huge jump. He actually ended up driving down the banking and towards the apron section of the track. He was the only driver to really do that, but it seemed to have worked out because now he has granted himself a huge 6-car length lead coming onto the backstretch.
Costarello already in the wall.
Alonso caught that. I missed that. It does look like Costarello might have scraped the wall a little bit there already. Looking at his car right now, wouldn't appear to be too much damage, but he did seem to make a little bit of contact there. But these 87 cars, they're tough. These things are built like tanks. You can slam them into the wall, spin them out, do whatever, and they're pretty much just going to keep on trucking. So I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, I did a few laps earlier in the week, and granted, I can't drive a normal race car, so kind of crazy for me to expect to drive these okay. But these cars really, if they can take that hit to the wall and not break, as we currently ride on board with Jimmy Costarellos, who you can see the right rear quarter panel has some things in scrapes, as Bryson Hixenbaugh looks to make a pass for second place.
And Hixenbaugh is closing in ever so slightly. The thing is, he's got to figure out how and when to make the passes. He's going to try it right here. Gets to the inside of the number 4 car, and looks like Costarellos just kind of gave it to him. He saw that Hixenbaugh had the preferred line. He backed out of the throttle and gave it to Hixenbaugh. And definitely some patience early on from Costarellos, which allowed Hixenbaugh to now get right up to the back bumper of the leader, Jonathan Delaney.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead, Alonso.
One thing I like to point out is that the point in the track where the cars are lightest is definitely on exit of the corners, off of 2 and off of 4. The cars get really loose off exit because you're turning so much. Just to make these things turn, like you got to really crank that wheel, and then once you get to that exit, coming off the banking, these cars get really loose. So I expect people to make a few bobbles, maybe bob and weave a little bit, just to try to get these cars under control, because I think those are the parts of the track that are the most sketchiest. We've already seen guys like Bryce get a little loose off the corners, so that's something to look out for as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely. As you were talking about it, Alonso, Bryson Hixenbaugh was making a pass for the lead, and he actually got really sideways making that pass on exit. somehow still carried the momentum to actually complete it. And now he's kind of driving away from the field, but you're absolutely right. These cars look evil on exit, and that's something these guys are definitely going to have to focus on.
Yeah, and just as we were saying that, it looks like Jonathan Delaney, as he got to the back bumper of Bryson Hixenbaugh when Bryson was going for the lead, he kind of scraped the wall a little, but as you can see, it really didn't affect his speed, holding that half-second gap to the leader in Bryson. A lot of these drivers, as we mentioned, it's a long race, so a lot of these drivers may be saving a lot of what they have for the very end.
Definitely. Conservation, I think, is going to be one of the biggest factors when it comes to deciding this event. And Bryson, honestly, just from my perspective up here, I think Bryson might really be abusing his equipment. We saw how much he was sliding around trying to pass Jonathan Delaney, or I should say when he did pass Jonathan Delaney, it wasn't trying, he did. But he got really sideways, and every time he goes through the corner, you can see him just kind of slip sliding around, getting really close to that wall, and then diamonding out of the corner, sort of driving down a lane or two. Jonathan Delaney and Jimmy Costrellos, though, they've been driving a little bit more conservative. If you're right on board with them, you can hear a little bit less tire squeal. And you can see that they're just kind of keeping the car a little bit more planted. As you can see, they're coming through 1 and 2 right here. Just those little inputs on the steering wheel, being very careful. Not too much sliding. And that could be a huge help as the green flag run progresses, because once Bryson wears his tires down and these guys have slightly fresher ones, they're going to be able to have exceptional pace. Probably, if they did a good job conserving, they could gain half a second per lap.
Oh, Bryce is loose. Bryson in 14 just got really loose, but he saved it.
We go back to what happened there. And... oh, yep. Got really loose coming out of that corner.
That's right back to what Alonso said. That's where the cars feel the lightest coming out of the turns. And I think a lot of that is due to the shift in banking. You're going from having a little bit of banking to kind of hitting a bit of a hump and then having the track level out. And that obviously redistributes the weight completely differently than it is going through the main part of the corner, and that's going to get that car all types of sideways. So it's tough, and we've already seen a few drivers make those little bobbles that we kind of expect to see. Right there, you can see a little bit of a slide from the helmet cam there.
Oh, God.
Whoa! Costarellos down on the apron. He slid back up right in front of what appears to be Cameron Stone. I could be wrong. A huge slide. Luckily, number 24 machine, that was Kevin Steele he slid up in front of. I'm sorry, that's a correction. Kevin Steele was able to check up in time and actually get slowed down and avoid contact. But if contact had been made, that could have been disastrous because that was a fast closing rate.
Hey, you see
Yeah,
that?
Costarellos just got into the wall there, and it just kind of dumped him back out into the track. And, I mean, when that happens, me personally, first thing I want to do is just get back into control, get back into rhythm. Because if you just continue to push your car and your tires, after either getting to the wall like that or making it as big as a slide that Bryce did earlier, you're just going to end up making more mistakes. So if I'm in their positions, really what I would do is just try to calm down a little bit, maybe give these guys a little bit more room, and try to get back into rhythm.
Yeah, and just as he said that, it looks like Jonathan Delaney moved back up into third after that almost contact between Kevin Steele and Jimmy Costarellos. Did you notice there? I actually got that perfectly timed when Jimmy Costarellos was sliding back up in front of Kevin. I'm proud of myself there. We're getting better at this.
Yeah, that camera angle, it was perfect. I mean, as soon as you switched to him, that's when the action happened. And it goes to show, even with the smaller field size, you never really know what's going to happen, and you still have to be on your toes and paying attention to your surroundings, which Kevin obviously was. And we always talk about how good Kevin Steele is at avoiding wrecks and just kind of putting himself in these sort of safer situations. And it shows right there, because I think any lesser driver maybe wouldn't have reacted quite so quickly. And even if they did react, it's really impressive to me that Kevin Steele was able to keep that car under control, getting on the brakes as hard as he did, because there was a little bit of lockup there, but he kept it straight, kept it going, and was able to avoid spinning out or wheel hopping or doing anything too drastic. But this three-car battle is really heating up. You could see Jonathan Delaney was really hungry to try to get around Kevin Steele. He was right on the bumper. He kind of peaked low a couple times, but the door just didn't quite open completely. So now, between Jimmy Costarellos, John Delaney, and Kevin Steele, it is a close battle for second.
Yeah, and just in the middle of that battle, we saw Jonathan Delaney hit the wall, scrape the right side. But as Alonso mentioned earlier, these cars are durable. They can take some hits. They're not going to blow a motor if you make a slight tap in the wall, kind of like we saw last night with the Cadillacs. But you got to be careful because you don't want to be riding that wall all race, because if you do that, then you're not going to make it the 367 laps. As the field starts to spread out here, this is the only battle on track between anybody. And so it looks like Cameron Stone, Mason Lowry, Chad Edwards, and Bryce Hoffman may be saving some of their stuff for later in the race.
Yeah, Mason is like I was pointing out, just being really conservative, like he usually is. I believe he is making up a little bit of ground on Cameron Stone, which he's always seems to be a really fast driver. He didn't get much practice in, but he's another one of those guys that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So I expect him to make his way up there slowly, I think, as he gets more used to this car.
I've been in a number of races with Cameron Stone where you're right. Once he gets the feel for it, he kind of takes off, and then in the early portions of the race, he's a little bit further behind. And as to what you said about Mason Lowry, you're absolutely right. Very consistent, very good at conserving his equipment. I know back in the High Side League when we were running modifieds, when he did run, he's really good at saving those tires and being able to be there on the long run. So definitely a skill that's going to transition to these 87 cars. As now we got a potential overtake for second place. That's Jonathan Delaney on the inside of Kevin Steele. He's going to dive clear down to the apron, straddling that white line. He's going to slide back up. He has him cleared, and now he's pretty safely into second. And Kevin Steele, the pressure is not over yet because now he's got number 4 car, Jimmy Costarellos, right behind him trying to take third.
Yeah, this is a heated battle on track. Jonathan Delaney taking some lessons learned in that 88 from Junior, who didn't even race these cars at the time, but made that famous line about the slide job on a guy. So that was an impressive move from John, and good on Kevin because Kevin didn't drive it through the back of him. You mentioned it last night. Jonathan Delaney has some finesse, Andre, and it's definitely showing here again.
That's why I picked him. He's got that kind of ability just to know when to make the overtakes, where to put his car, and now his only task is going to be to run down the leader. And viewer at home might be asking, where is the leader? Where's Bryson? Well, he is 4.6 seconds ahead, currently rounding to the sweeping turns 1 and 2, and he has quite a lead, and it is only extended over the last few laps, although I'm curious to see if anything changes with Jonathan Delaney now up into second. He doesn't have anybody in front of him potentially holding him up or slowing him down. He's got clear track ahead to maybe try to make a run at it, although the question is it worth it? Maybe at this point when you're 4 seconds back, to catch up, it would really require you to push that car and use up your equipment, and by the time you got there, maybe you don't have enough left underneath you to actually make the overtake or at least hold the lead. So maybe now the best strategy would be to conserve and hope that Bryson isn't, or maybe even wait for a caution.
Yeah, absolutely, and the field's pretty spaced out right now where we may not see a caution for a little bit. As Alonso mentioned, as I say that, Jimmy Costarellos in the wall keeps it straight. But as Alonso mentioned, tires can go about 55 laps. I know talking with Bryson before this race, he mentioned that the tires he was running, they could only hold up for about 55 laps. Whereas some of the guys back in the field, such as Chad Edwards, Mason Lowry, or Bryce Hoffman, said they may be able to push it 75 laps. Granted, the time difference is going to be a big factor. Would you agree with that statement, Alonso?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could definitely go the 75 laps. And guys that haven't been pushing it, like the ones in the back, they could definitely do it. Keep in mind, if they do, there's not going to be very much rubber left. I'm talking like maybe 15%, 12%, maybe even less than that. And, someone like B. Hicks, who has quite a bit of time, he could pit a little sooner and get even more ground on these guys just by short pitting a little bit and then having those fresh tires and making up all those seconds per lap. I'm really interested to see what he's gonna do, or if maybe someone like Jonathan Delaney or Jimmy Costarellos makes an aggressive move or gamble, as you would say, like that, and maybe try to pit a little bit early just to try to get any sort of advantage on someone like B. Hicks, who, is going to be really hard to catch here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quick reminder to the viewers at home, I had a little issue setting up the stream. So if you can just refresh, then you guys should be able to see the chat box. on the stream. I apologize for that because, we all want to see some chatting, want some interaction. But, yep, the field currently spread out pretty good here. Closest battle on track currently is between Bryce Hoffman and Mason Lowry, back in the 8th and 9th position.
To add on to what Alonso said a little earlier,
Costarelos was wrecking.
Oh, sounds like we got an issue. Number 4 car is a
wall. We have a caution.
And that's a heavy hit.
Yeah, he just kind of let it roll
he's
back.
Done. I see a lot of smoke in his car. I think he's done, guys.
Yeah, I think that engine shot. Ooh, yeah, that was a hard hit. We can tell just from the rewind. So looking at the replay here, rounding turns 1 and 2, the 3-car train got a little bit separated after Delaney made the pass into the outside wall, and it just pinged him right down towards the inside retaining barrier. And that barrier did its job, but maybe a little bit too well, as that number 4 car is definitely done for the day. They're going to have to pack that thing up to the hauler and think about next week, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, just getting off of that corner is just a tough transition. And like I said, just gets these cars really light. He looks like he got into the wall and just couldn't keep it off of the inside wall.
Yeah. Let's go to a quick. Actually, well, it looks like we're on pit road here for the first time today. And it looks like the whole field is going to come down pit road here for the pit stops. Alonso, why don't you let us know what some of these drivers are thinking here as they come for the first stop?
Well, I'm thinking just this is easy, right? Like 4 tires all the way around. I don't expect anyone to take anything else, actually. Like, we see a lot of these cars moving up and down on both sides. I don't think anyone's taking 2 tires here, guys. This is an easy call.
Yep, and
I would agree.
Looks like the race off pit road, Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to keep the lead with Jonathan Delaney second, Kevin Steele third, Wayne Grassy fourth, and it looks like some of the guys that were farther back in the field finishing up their stops. Chad Edwards is going to be fifth, and it looks like Cameron Stone sixth, Mason Lowry seventh, and it looks like that Bryce Hoffman is going to finish off coming off pit road in that last position.
And obviously Costrellis is going to remain on pit road. That car is pretty much done for the day, I would say. But Alonso was absolutely right. I think that was an easy call. 4 tires and fuel. With such a small field size, you don't have much to gain or lose with taking 2 tires. If you were to take 2, you would only really, if you were in last place, you'd only stand to gain 8 positions and then potentially lose those right back due to the excessive tire wear on the left side of the car. So really, I think in that situation, when we had been racing for upwards of 22 laps, it's an easy call. Take 4 tires. Now, if we were to get a caution 10 or 9 laps into a run, I think that's when the gray area would kind of kick in. That's when you would see some guys maybe opting to take 2. When you have these sort of short green flag runs, but when we have these longer, 20, 30 lap runs, Alonso's 100% correct. That is an easy call to make. 4 fresh Goodyears and fuel, and try to get back to racing.
Yeah, and I think Alonso just came off pit road and was able to talk to some of the crew chiefs. What did they have to say, Alonso?
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out, it looks like Delaney got a speeding penalty. So he lost quite a bit of positions there. But some of these guys are not very happy. Mason had a few choice words about the way his car is handling. As we see, looks like Chad has a problem, and he's peeling off here. I don't know what happened there. Maybe he just missed a shift. But we'll see if he can get back going here.
Yeah, that may have been a strategy call for Chad as well. Just to kind of get back in the field, hold on to his car, make sure he doesn't wreck anything. Yeah, I can imagine what Mason was saying there on pit road after whatever happened with his car. We all know him. He's not afraid to say what he wants, right, Andre?
Absolutely. Mason will speak his mind no matter what. Quick update on Jimmy Costrellos. They did put 4 fresh tires on the car. I just saw the Jackman lift the car up on both sides. I'm not sure if that's an indicator that he's going to try to get back out on track. I honestly kind of doubt that he will, but I figured I'd point that out. They did put fresh tires on the car. We're going to have to wait and see. Alonso pointed out that Chad Edwards dropped back quite a bit on the start there, possibly a missed shift. He is continuing to drop. I'm looking at the gap, and he seems to be falling a little bit further back. So either he's playing it exceptionally conservative, or he is maybe facing some sort of unseen engine damage.
That's absolutely a potential problem. These cars, like I mentioned earlier, they can take a beating, but you may drop a couple RPMs here at the beginning of the race if you do have some engine damage. As it looks like Wayne Grassie's going to be trying to make a move here in a couple laps on Cameron Stone.
Yeah, and I heard Cameron talking as well. I got to speak with him, and he says he's got this thing figured out. He only practiced for about 5 or 6 laps, but by now actually, as I say that, he's getting loose and he's in the wall, so maybe he doesn't have it as figured out as he thinks. He got a little bit of damage there.
I think he might have had a little bit of help there. It's hard to tell. I was on the chase cam of Wayne Grassie, but it looks like there might have been a little bit of help for Cameron Stone to go around.
No, it looked like he was loose. If he did get help, that was definitely but he just got loose, I think.
Oh yeah. Looking at it from the outside perspective, there, he definitely just got loose. Looks like he got on entry. He clipped the apron, and I think that sort of changed the line he was running through the corner, and then right about halfway through the corner, it just kind of got a little upset. So, absolutely, I thought he might have got a little help. The camera angle I was on looked a little different than the third person there, but yeah, that's a tough situation, and it goes to show, even when you have that confidence, even when you think you've got these cars figured out, sometimes they step out, they throw a curveball at you, because these are easily one of the most difficult cars to drive on the simulator. And every little bump, every little crease, every change in banking wants to make these cars fight you, and it's tough.
Yeah.
He also has a little bit of damage on his bumper, and that was there before he hit the wall. So I don't know if maybe that was affecting his handling as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With that incident, Andre said in the simulator, good job on that, by the way, Andre. We didn't want to get too many people at home upset about it being called a game and not a simulator. It looks like he still is able to run Mason kind of close the gap into that top 5. But going back to Casarella's wreck, you may have to think that he's going to try to get that thing fixed. As we mentioned, there's prizes to the top 5. And if he's able to get that engine fixed and come back out, he may be in the running for some money here at the very end, Andre.
Definitely, and if enough cars wrecked out, a top 5 would be very doable. You got to think Cameron Stone, he's made some mistakes already. He's in the top 5 still, and I think if he were able to get out and only be a couple laps down, maybe get some cautions, who knows? Maybe he would be able to pull off that top 5 and get a little bit of award money at the end of the day. We're just going to have to wait it out and see. As the camera is shifting focus, that's Jonathan Delaney, who, remember, Alonso mentioned he got a speeding penalty in that last pit sequence, so it sent him all the way back from 2nd place back to 9th, so he had to work his way up through the field, which he's done expertly, up to P3 now, trying to run down that number 7 car. And I gotta say, Wayne Grassie is really impressing me. When I think of, I don't know, it's just when I thought of drivers who were going to be up front tonight, Wayne Grassie is a great driver. We've seen him perform in several different leagues, but I've never seen him drive the 87 car, so I guess I didn't really know what to expect. And here he is up in the top 3, doing a phenomenal job, staying pretty close to Kevin Steele in 2nd place there. So we're just going to have to see if he can run down Kevin Steele, maybe take the 2nd spot, with Jonathan Delaney behind him, pressuring him for that final podium spot, 3rd place. We're just going to have to see how he handles that pressure.
Yeah, and if we go back looking for the leader, and it looks like that Wayne Grassie is going to let Jonathan by and let him use up his stuff. But if we go to the leader, as you can see, he's already built out to a 2.5-second lead here in a very quick amount of laps. As we mentioned, he looked like he was going to be the dominant car today, and it's showing already. What did you say so, Andre?
Definitely. He has led the most laps so far. Once he got the lead, he never really looked back after qualifying in 3rd and just kind of immediately shooting up to the front. But I will say this time around, his lead is not extending to the point that it got to in the first run. Remember, about 20 laps into the first run, he had a 4-second lead, nearly 5 seconds by the time the yellow flag came out. Now, for about 18 laps since we have gone green, and Hixenbaugh only has a 2.5-second lead, so either he is now conserving his equipment a little bit more, or Kevin Steele has turned up the aggression, and he's just simply not letting Bryson drive away with it like he did the first time.
Yeah, but we
I
also
think honestly, sorry, Cody, go ahead.
but we have to think that maybe Bryson Hixenbaugh may be saving here a little. Knowing how much his tires were used up on that last run, you would have to think that with Kevin Steele, Kevin may be pushing it a little more than Bryson, and it may show here towards the end of this run.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that, Cody. I think it's a little bit of both. I think B Hicks, he's a really smart driver. He learns with each and every stint that he does. So I think he's definitely conserving his tires. But Kevin, on the other hand, I think he also learned, but he learned something different. I think he learned how to be a little bit faster, and he might be pushing it a little bit too hard. I guess we'll find out here soon in a few laps. But he's definitely got a lot more speed, and he's actually gaining, I think, a little bit on B Hicks because the distance was a little bit more than 2.5, and now it's back down to 2.2. So he's staying there with Kevin. I'm sorry, with B Hicks.
Yeah, he is maintaining pace. He's doing a really good job, and I think you're right. It's kind of a toss-up. We gotta, we don't really know, is Bryson just saving and conserving his equipment, or is Kevin Steele maybe pushing a little bit harder? We're just gonna have to wait and see. Behind Kevin Steele, you got another 1.9, nearly 2-second gap back to Jonathan Delaney in third. So really, the top three separated by about 2 seconds apiece, give or take, and then back to fourth place.
Bryson the wall.
Yeah, Bryson, a little bit there. You caught that. He, I don't know. Maybe he's pushing that car. It's hard to tell. It's going to be a toss up. We'll see. But Wayne Grassy, I'm surprised at the rate that he's dropping back. He was up there in third, nearly in the hunt for second place, and now just kind of dropping back a little bit. 6 seconds back to the leader. Cameron Stone back there in fifth is closing the gap. Only about a second back to Cameron Stone and closing. So we're going to have to see how his race pans out, potentially being a little bit conservative. Cameron Stone, you mentioned, Alonso, that he thought he had this car figured out, and no sooner than he said he had it figured out was he sideways. So I think he's continuing to learn, continuing to get the car under his feet and figure it out. But he's going to have a long road ahead. Right now, the gap to the leader, 7 seconds. And whoa, sideways again. Stone is struggling with that car.
And just as you mentioned
Yeah,
that, Bryce Hoffman comes down pit road. Don't know.
Yeah, he got into the wall there, and also Chad got into him a little bit. So Chad Edwards has some front end damage. I guess I don't know really what happened to Bryce. Maybe he got a little bit loose, something similar to Cam, but he got up in the wall, and Chad Edwards had nowhere to go and just got into him. So they both have damage.
Yeah, it just looks like going into 3 and 4. Bryce Hoffman just got into the wall, and Chad was just a victim of circumstance there. Had nowhere really to go, and it looks like that Bryce Hoffman's day may be over.
Yeah, that could be race-ending damage. I think if he wanted to, he could maybe sit on pit road long enough to get a lot of that damage fixed and maybe limp the car back out on track. It's going to be a matter of whether or not he thinks it's worth it to get back out on track. We're going to have to wait and see. But Alonso, we got somebody in the infield care center. We're going to bring him up, and how about you have a word with him?
All right, sounds good. Hey there, Bryce.
It's actually Jimmy Costarelis that we brought up into the booth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Jimmy, how you doing?
Jimmy, this is the Birdman TV booth. You got a copy?
Copy. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, how you doing there? So we saw what happened. It seems like maybe you got a little bit tight exiting the corner. You hit the wall, and then pretty much, the car did its own thing. You ended up, facing the infield. But tell us a little bit about, what was going through your mind there and what led to that.
Car was good. Driver was not great. I did the best I could to channel my inner SPR, and it came out loud tonight, as you can see. So got to working on getting another motor in there. We're gonna try to get back out and see if we can get in spots.
Yeah, this is definitely not an easy race. Like I was saying, like these cars get really, really either loose or tight. Like I feel like sometimes you can't really tell. Like it's gonna do one or the other. But these are not easy cars to handle, especially at a track like this where everything's so tight. So I definitely expect some more drivers to get in some trouble here, and maybe you can get back out there and get some positions. What do you say?
Yeah, I can come back and win the race. To be honest, do we'll be out there in full force in about 25 minutes. So
All right, we heard it here first. Jimmy Costrellis coming from 20 laps down to the lead. I'm banking on it, Jimmy. I want to see it happen.
make it happen, boys. I'll do it for you. All right,
Don't lie to me, Jimmy.
thanks, guys.
That really just goes to show like how not easy this race is. I mean, Jimmy, he's one of the most skilled drivers I know. Like he's a really great driver. He also doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So for him to be the first person out, that's really surprising to me. Like that just really goes to show that these guys, they're not doing anything easy here.
Yeah, absolutely not. As we currently focus on Bryson Hixenbaugh, currently in the lead, as it looks like Kevin Steele's under pressure for second from Jonathan Delaney.
Delaney is charging. He is right on that back bumper, giving him a shove down the straightaway. They're going to make their way into the corner, and they both kind of clip the apron on entry, slide up. That seems to be the line a lot of them have been running so far tonight. And it really seems to me like the preferred place to try to make an overtake is on exit of turn 2, because you can kind of use that excess runoff that you have down on the apron to kind of position yourself down low, get a run, and then sort of force the competition up into the top lane. And that's really seems to be the only place to make a good pass. That's where we've seen just about every pass tonight. And John Delaney gets into the wall a little bit there. You can tell he's really pushing that car, trying to get back around Kevin Steele. And he's using every little inch that car is going to give him. He's got to be careful, though. You scrape that wall too many times, and the damage is cumulative. The more you scrape that wall, the more damage you get, the slower your car is going to be. It's gonna keep on trucking. Like I said, these cars are tanks, but you will start to lose speed little by little the more you make contact with wall and mess up that bodywork and maybe even a little bit of engine damage from that contact over time.
Huge run here.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan Delaney got kind of sideways coming off of that turn there, going on to the backstretch, and it looks like he is going to clear Kevin Steele for second and start to gap him a little coming through the corner. Have to imagine that Kevin may have, as I mentioned earlier, may have started using up his stuff a little too early. We'll see if his car comes back to him later in the run.
Yeah, I saw him like seems to be really sliding the car on entry, kind of like what Dirt was saying. Maybe that's a preferred lane, maybe that's the fastest way around, and these guys figured out something that I couldn't figure out in practice. But it seems like that's doing quite a bit of damage for these tires. It's definitely, I think, not the best thing for that tire life. But hey, maybe it's fast. But I feel like, yeah, like Kevin. I feel like he was just using up his stuff a little bit too much and sliding maybe just a little bit too much.
Yeah, and just as you say that, it looks like Cameron Stone's going to approach Wayne Grassy here for fourth place.
And Cameron is right on that outside wall. You could see his right rear quarter panel couldn't have been an inch from the wall as he rounded that corner. That was absolutely insane how he was ripping that top side. And he is applying the pressure to that 7 car. You can see he's getting on the throttle, getting close. Almost trying to, it looks like he's trying to scare him into a mistake, as now he's going to get loose on exit, but it doesn't matter. He keeps his foot in the throttle. A huge run on the bottom. He is to the door of the 7. He's got the bottom lane. He's going to slide job him, but here comes the number 7, Wayne Grassy. He's going to get back down to the bottom and maybe strike back. Can he do it?
Alrighty.
Yeah, it looks like that they just discussed that Cameron kind of apologized for that move. Didn't mean it as much as we originally thought. But you have to think too, Andre, as we all may recall, the Darlington race in Galaxy Cup this year doesn't bring back too many pleasant memories to Cameron Stone.
No, Cameron Stone and Darlington is a bit of an iconic duo in a way, because he never seems to have the best of luck here. But the same thing could be said for Jonathan Delaney. In fact, Kevin Steele himself said, yeah, John doesn't have a great track record at Darlington, but look at that. John Delaney up in second and Cameron Stone in fourth. These guys may be looking for some redemption at this track.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to see anybody missing a shift today, or post-race maybe Cameron Stone has the same thought and tries to wreck his teammate after the checkered celebration. Who knows? But we hope that doesn't happen today. We hope for some clean racing with as Jonathan Delaney looks like he may be closing the gap a little here on Bryson.
Yeah, I was just about to say if you look at how much B Hicks is driven away, it's only really 3.5 seconds for Delaney and 4.5 seconds for Kevin. And I say only because I mean the last run he was driving away by quite a lot, and then you see the rest of the field from Cameron down. It was more so the same as the last stint. So I feel like Delaney and Kevin maybe did figure something out, um, because everything else seems to be the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everything.
Oh, sorry. Go
ahead, Cody.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah.
When do you guys talk?
It looks like they kind of figured something out where they were able to save some tires, but also something to look at is Bryson Hixenbaugh's closing in on some lap traffic here, and Chad Edwards. Looks like Chad may be struggling a little with his car after that incident with Bryce earlier in the race.
Yeah, it looks like Bryce actually stepped away. I think he's 16 laps down.
Yeah, Bryce Hoffman is officially out of this race, as it looks like he has left the simulation today.
So unfortunate end to Bryce Hoffman's day, but I can understand it. You know, we're here for fun. It's a fun race. You're not really in it for the points. So, you know, coming back out and gaining positions, the only thing to gain would be maybe a little bit of the award money. But Bryce just kind of decided, you know what, it's a really long race. My hopes are pretty much dashed at this point. So he decided to step out. I can understand it. Chad Edwards, I'm a little confused what his situation is. It just seems like that car is not there for him. He got to the wall there a little bit. You can see on corner entry. And he's got a little bit of damage on that right-hand side, so I can tell that's not the first time he's gotten into the wall. It just seems like maybe that setup is not meshing with him very well, because he really is struggling to get that thing around these turns.
Yeah, I talked to him before this race, and he told me he put on about 300 laps, I think he said, of practice, and he just told me flat out, I can't figure this thing out. So there's something, I don't know, maybe if it's the setup or this car and track combo that just does not suit him. But he didn't sound very confident heading into this race.
Yeah, I know Chad has struggled with these 87 cars in the past, especially in Bryson Hixenbaugh's Fun League that we run on Mondays. We did a full season in these 87 cars, and he never really was too big of a fan of them. He never quite got the hang of them, and I'm with him. I never could really get the feel for these things either. They are, like I said earlier, one of the most difficult cars in the sim to drive, and it just seems like maybe that setup is not agreeing with him. He's got a very specific driving style, and he's a good driver. I mean, when you put him in a car like a cup car or a truck or even a wheel-and modified, anything that has a little bit more grip, that's when his talent really shines. And you can really watch him work some magic behind the wheel. But these looser 87 cars, he just never could quite get the feel of.
Yeah, and if we ride on board here, I noticed it when he was going down the backstretch. It kind of sounded like he may be down a little on power, that he may not be able to get the full horsepower, as it kind of sounds like it.
That honestly wouldn't surprise me, just because the damage he has up front. It doesn't look too bad cosmetically, but most likely it hurt him more as far as engine goes more so than cosmetics.
Yeah, and it looks like he's still struggling with the handle of it going through the corners. Let's go back to closest battle on track. It looks like Cameron Stone started to gap himself from Wayne Grassy here a little. As you expect, leader still Bryson Hixenbaugh here as we cross the line here at lap 69. Very nice race so far today. Wouldn't you agree with that, Andre?
Oh yeah, it's been something. And you know, watching this 57 car of Cameron Stone, it's got quite a bit of damage, and he's had some trouble with this car. We've seen him get really sideways multiple times throughout the night. Despite that, he has worked his way up into fourth, and he is slowly closing the gap to Kevin Stone. It's a pretty big gap, 6 seconds almost that he has to close between him and that 24 car, but we're just going to have to wait and see what he can do behind wheel. I think for a lot of these guys, I think their best hope is going to be getting a yellow flag to attempt to maybe bunch the field back up, get fresh tires on there. And for a lot of these guys now, something to consider that we really didn't have to think about on the first stop because it was so early in the race, but now maybe get some of the damage repaired.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be kind of hard under green flag conditions because you don't want to pit, lose too much time, and then unfortunately lose a lap or two because Bryson's putting down some very competitive laps. Here on lap 44 of this run, Bryson Hixenbaugh is currently running a 31.06.3, which is only about 8 tenths off his fastest lap. So the car seems to be keeping pace pretty quickly. As I thought tire wear may start to slow him down a little, but hasn't.
Speaking of earlier in this broadcast, we were talking about these cars compared to the Cup cars of today and how they have so much more grip in the corners. And I did a little bit of research, and the fastest lap record for a Cup car was made by Eric Almirola in 2014, and it was a 27.6. So that just shows you, like, that's about 2 seconds difference compared to these cars, and over 500 miles. That can really add up.
And like I said, it is cumulative. You're absolutely right about that. So that there's another factor that you have to think about when you get into these longer endurance races. It's not just about speed. It's not just about turning the fastest laps and figuring out the best lines. It's kind of just about preserving your equipment, minimizing the mistakes, minimizing the damage, minimizing the tire wear, and trying to be there in the end. And so far, I would say, honestly, Bryson Hixenbaugh has been sort of the standout driver. Obviously, he's led a lot of laps, but on top of that, additionally, if you look at that car, there's not a scrape on it. He got into the wall early in the race, like lap 4 or 5. I mean, it was really early, but he hasn't really gotten to the wall since then. And he was able to get that fixed up in that first caution when he came down pit road. And since then, that car has been just crystal clear, clean, nice, no dents, no scratches. He's good to go. The only other driver, I think, on the track right now that doesn't have any damage, or at least any damage that I could see, is Kevin Steele. So 2 very consistent drivers. Maybe not so surprising that they're the 2 with the least amount of damage.
Yeah, absolutely not. We all joke around Kevin Consistency Steele, but he's in a podium position yet again here today. So you have to imagine if he keeps that car clean, it looks like he will be going towards the podium position and raking in some of that cash that we mentioned earlier.
With a money award going to the top 5, absolutely. If he just keeps his head on his shoulders and keeps running his lines. In fact, he's actually outpacing Cameron Stone. We talked about a little bit ago. I said it was a 6-second gap between Cameron Stone and Kevin Steele, but now that is up to 9 seconds, almost 10. Actually, as they go into the corner, it does extend to 10 seconds between them. So Cameron Stone falling back a ways. Kevin really doesn't have any pressure from behind. He's a ways behind Jonathan Delaney. He doesn't really have to really concern himself with trying to run down Delaney right now because you got to think maybe they're starting to think about tire wear and maybe coming in and trying to short stop because we are approaching that point. Remember, caution came out on lap 22, I believe. We're approaching lap 80. So it's been a while, and I think before too long you're going to see the pit window kind of open up if you're somebody who maybe wants to try that short stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we currently see, it looks like that they're on about lap 51 of this run, just crossed lap 51. So you have to imagine these drivers are starting to feel the tires. Alonzo, we mentioned 55 being about the tire. Do you think Bryson's going to be one of the first people to pit? Or do you think somebody else is going to try to pit a couple laps sooner to get that tire advantage and gain a couple seconds on them?
It honestly wouldn't surprise me for someone like Jonathan Delaney to try to do that. I mean, he doesn't have much to lose. He's 3.5 seconds back. So I think it would be beneficial of him to try to short pit a little bit since everyone's so spread out. I mean, it'd be kind of tough to get a caution here. You just kind of have to hope and pray that someone loses it. But I expect someone like maybe Jonathan Delaney to pit a little sooner than that 55 mark. Besides that, B Hicks, he makes very calculated moves So I know he has a very specific number he wants to get to before pitting.
Yeah, and working with him in the Cup Series previously, he kind of knows, he kind of works the race backwards like at a road course. Where you have a lap set where you know, okay, so if the race is 367, I need to pit X number of laps to hit my strategy. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him doing that again here today. Especially with how the field's running, as it looks like Mason Lowry has come into pit.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it looks like we have Mason pitting here, and he makes that very, very slow turn into the pits. I mean, you're losing a lot of time here right now, but once he gets those fresh tires, if people, stay out for maybe like 10 or so laps, he's gonna make quite a bit of ground up. We see one side go up. I fully expect the other side too as well. And he's the first person to come in. I think if other people saw that, it might be tempting to come in maybe a little bit sooner than you were planning to.
Yeah, and it actually looks like Mason hit the wall pretty hard, and that's why he came down pit road. The right side of that car is pretty beat up.
Yeah, that thing's looking like a Denny's Grand Slam on the right-hand side. That is pancaked entirely. Not sure when that happened. We definitely didn't catch it on camera, but you're right. That is a ton of damage. So we're going to have to see. Maybe the short stop strategy can kind of minimize the damage that was done and the time that was lost with getting into the wall. As you can see, he's sitting on pit road. He might be getting some damage fixed. That could be the case. He's going to roll off pit road right now. Car's still pretty beat up on the right-hand side, so not opting to take too many repairs. He's out and away, and we're just going to have to wait and see where he cycles out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does look like that Cameron Stone is the first one to come down pit road. It looks like he has some beating and banging, but we did notice that he did hit the wall early on. So that looks like a little more damage than we originally thought. A lot of damage to that right side.
Yeah, that car's pretty beat as well. I mean, that's as close as another grand. I don't know how many more Grand Slams can you get. Like, we might as well just call this the Denny's 500, honestly.
We can't call it the Denny's 500. Let's not get copyright struck here. But it looks like Wayne Grassi is coming down pit road to, looks like, get some tires. His car's pretty clean, too. I mean, little damage here and there, little scrapes, but we're going to have that. It looks like he's going to be the first of the leaders to come down pit road.
Yeah, just like I said, once you have that one person come in, most everybody else is gonna at least think about coming in as well. So Mason really getting that started for everyone. Maybe he got a little bit of damage, which helped made that decision for him. But I do have a feeling that maybe I'm sorry, Cameron and also Wayne probably saw that and thought, I should probably start getting into the pits as well. Because like you said, Wayne doesn't really have that much damage like those two other have. So I think this is just purely a strategy call.
Yeah, and it looks like Cameron Stone is going to wait on pit road a little longer, get some of that damage fixed. As we go back to the leaders here.
Fuck!
Oh, and I apologize for the language coming out of Cameron Stone. We should have muted the driver's chat, expecting that from Cam. But if we go back to the leaders
Sounded
here,
like Kurt Busch.
Yeah, just a bit there. As we go back to the leaders, Bryson has opened it up to a 6-second lead. So definitely safe to tires here for the end of this run. Giving that 6-second gap as he comes down pit road. Kind of fast. Hopefully he makes it.
You know what? I still beat him, so at least
I kind of see that as a bit of a missed opportunity for John Delaney. If I'm John and I've got a 5-second, 6-second gap to the leader, I'm going to try to maybe shortstop. Come in a few laps early, try to make that time up on those fresher tires before the leader pits. And we all know Hixenbaugh does tend to try to take a long run strategy. He is one of the guys who will be the last driver to come down pit road. We saw it in the 100% Cup League so many times where Hixenbaugh would be one of the last ones to come down pit road. So I really expected Jonathan Delaney to maybe pit before Hixenbaugh, get that shortstop, and come out in front of him, or at least close to it. But the opposite's happening. Bryson Hixenbaugh pitted before Delaney. Delaney is still out on the track. He has not come down pit road. And in the meantime, while we haven't really been watching him, he's acquired quite a bit of damage. He's gotten into the wall a couple times just since the time we've been watching him. So that's going to be something to maybe consider getting repaired if he can. Though you don't want to spend too much time sitting on pit road. But Hixenbaugh, they're going to drop the jack, and he's going to be getting out and away. And again, we're going to have to see where everybody cycles out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say that very same thing, Andre. I like I said earlier, I was expecting Jonathan. If it was gonna be anyone, I was really expecting him to come in sooner than Bryson was, but I guess he just decided to stay out, and I feel like that's really costing him. Like he's on older tires, and obviously, his car isn't handling as quite as good as it was as he's in a wall again. So he's really struggling out there. I'm not sure why he's still out there, but it seems like whatever his strategy is, he seems committed.
yeah, absolutely. And you would have to think that he's going to be coming down pit road here shortly. Uh, and with that damage, and at the point, Bryson Hixenbaugh is currently a lap down.
I just don't see any way he could stay out much longer. I mean, Jonathan Delaney, he is getting into the wall almost every time he goes through the corner. That car
I think he's
is
fitting now.
so gone on handling. And Alonso has pointed out, he is coming down pit road. He's going to get that thing fixed up, and I think he's going to cycle out a lot further back than he was before. I believe, according to the timing and scoring, Kevin Steele is probably going to join him down pit road. Perhaps, I'm not entirely sure. There's Kevin Steele right there. Hixenbaugh pretty much coming to unlap himself. Out and around on the top line, he's got, that appears to be the number 8 car, Mason Lowry, in tow behind Hixenbaugh.
And
The 24 continues to stay out on track.
it looks like he's acquired a bit of damage too. Looks like we missed a lot there while we were cycling through the pit stops and saw some of the damage. Sounds like he may be down on power as well.
That engine does sound pretty bogged down. Let's go ahead and crank it up a little bit. Listen to that for just a second. Yeah. Sounded like, yeah. It's almost like the engine's missing.
Oh, and as we ride on board there, we see him hit the wall. But it just does not
I mean,
sound...
like legitimately, he was going down the straightaway.
Wall again.
Oh, hard into the wall. He's gonna have to correct on the steering wheel. It was a good save.
I think staying out. I think maybe these guys maybe pushed a little bit too much because Delaney and Kevin they really they pushed their limits here on the tires, and like I said, from what I was seeing, what guys were running on these long runs, the tires were falling to like the 15-12% mark. So maybe I think Kevin and Delaney were probably under that and just had very little grip left because it looked like they were having a very hard time handling these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Kevin pits, we actually have a new leader. We discussed him earlier having some incidents, obviously playing some pit strategy here. Chad Edwards is currently listed as the leader at lap 93 of this race.
I believe he is the last holdout to not come down pit road yet. I think that is why he has inherited the lead. He's going to stay out another lap. And honestly, if he has not pitted yet, that car looks pretty good. He's been kind of stable through the corners. He hasn't been getting into the wall, not sliding around too much. Hixenbaugh is closing in at a pretty fast rate. But when we've seen how the tire wear has affected some of these other guys, I'm pretty impressed with the way he's been able to drive that car. And I mentioned earlier Kevin Steele's engine sounded like it was missing, and it kind of did to me when I went on his onboard. It kind of sounded like he was going down the corner or going down the straightaway, and the engine would just kind of like cut for a second. So I don't know if he's maybe got some engine damage from hitting the wall one too many times, because that can't happen. It's kind of goofy the way damage works in this simulation. You can kind of door slam the wall a few too many times and you end up getting engine damage from it. I'm not a developer. I don't know how that works, but it can happen, and I think maybe that's what's happened with Kevin Steele. So hopefully he was able to get most of that repaired, as Hixenbaugh is going to go out onto the high line, and that is Kevin Steele on your screen coming out of the pit road just now. If he's just coming out of the pits, I'd say he had to get some damage fixed, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we like Cody said. I think we probably missed something major that happened to him because he was pretty slow. So I expect him to have a decent amount of engine damage.
So actually, I don't think it was his engine. I think he blew a tire. I think that's what that rumbling sound was, because it sounds like his engine's back to full pace here. But that sounded like a tire blew. Blowing out a tire on the highway, that kind of makes that sound. So I wonder if that was the case there.
Yeah, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because, like I was saying, like these guys were getting to very low numbers for those tires, and if it was that bad, it is a possibility to blow your tires. So, um, you gotta imagine Jonathan Delaney got pretty close to having a tire blown as well. So, I think these guys are learning something, and some of those other guys that pitted early, like Wayne Grassy, who didn't have damage. I think maybe they gained quite a bit of time, and they made the right call, I think.
I'd have to agree. I think you're dead on the money there, Alonso. It was one of those things where it was kind of experimental to see how long you could stay out, what the tires were going to do when you tried to push them past their limits. And for Jonathan Delaney and Kevin Steele, they found out, well, you go past the limits and you find out why those limits exist in the first place. Whereas Wayne Grassy, he made the smarter call. He came down pit road a little bit earlier, and he kind of spared himself the annoyance of driving a car that's really on really old tires and just not handling well. And that may help him out in the long run. He is currently being scored a lap down. There's 3 cars on the lead lap: Bryson Hixenbaugh, Chad Edwards, and Jonathan Delaney. I would have to think maybe we missed Chad's pit stop, because I'm not sure how he could still be out on track, especially only 2 seconds behind Bryson. So I think he may have come down pit road and we just happened to miss it.
Nope.
I don't think so.
He's currently
Um,
on lap 74 of his run. He's staying out there, staying with the long strategy, trying to get a jump here, trying to see maybe he can catch a caution and be one of the 3 cars that stay on the lead lap.
That's really
yeah,
impressive to me, because, like I mentioned, if he's on those older tires and he's still only 2.7 seconds back from B-Hicks after this amount of time, his pace on worn tires is really impressive.
I mean, you got to remember, I think earlier we were listening on to him, and his engine didn't sound too healthy as well. So I don't know if it's something as maybe he, because that he has a little bit less horsepower, it might be helping him in the corners and maybe not using up as much tires. So I don't know if that might play into effect, but it's a possibility. And also, you got to remember that, he had quite a bit of distance behind B Hicks, so he was running a lot slower, and especially after that damage with Bryce, I think he was taking it very, very easy on the car and on the tires. So, um, you know, he definitely has to pit soon, but it's understandable seeing as how he's been running.
Yeah, absolutely. That he's still in second place right now is very impressive. Obviously, when he comes down pit road, he is going to lose a lap or two, but the longer he stays out, I think his strategy may be working here, and he shows that maybe at the end of this, he may have a shot if the pit strategy goes his way.
Speaking of pit strategy, I just want to point out, like I said, we were speaking of drivers that pitted early and didn't want to deal with those old tires, and also drivers that maybe pitted a little bit too late, as we see Chad going into the pits now. But drivers like Delaney and also Kevin Steele, who stayed out a little bit too long. But once again, just Bryson, very calculated moves. He stayed out just as long as he needed to, and not a lap more than that. Because he will push the limits, but he will not go over them.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, Chad has come down for his pit stop. A lot of right side damage, but I mean, I think that's to be expected. So I think the only 2 cars clean still are Bryson Hixenbaugh and Wayne Grassy. And it looks like currently Bryson has opened up a gap of about 6 seconds to the second place, Jonathan Delaney. Why don't you say we go to a quick commercial break here, guys? Let us catch our breaths here for a little and come back and well refreshed.
Sounds
good.
good to me. But you guys at home aren't going to miss any of the action. We're going to leave the race up on your screen. So stay tuned, and we'll be back.
All right, guys, we are back as I work through getting the slides off. As we can see, we come back right in the middle of a battle between Bryson Hixenbaugh and Cameron Stone. These two have history. They were on the same team for a very long time, but now they have split in the 100% Cup Series where...
Hope you guys aren't at commercial broadcast.
And Cameron, and as you hear, Bryson Hixenbaugh just mentioned, hopefully we're not at commercial, which we got back at the nick of time.
Thanks, Wayne.
But currently, looking like Bryson Hixenbaugh is battling Cameron Stone to get around him for the lap.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how aggressive does Bryson get trying to pass Cameron Stone. Is he going to maybe go full send? Obviously, there's no urgency. The closest competition to Bryson is John Delaney, 10 seconds back. But again, like you said, these guys have history. They were on the same team for... Cameron Stone into the outside wall. Maybe not too happy with Bryson. We're going to see how this plays out. This could get interesting.
Oh, this is bringing back memories for Cameron Stone. I'm sure of it. Battling the leader here, certain number of laps down. Kind of looks like Bryson kind of let him go down. But as I was mentioning, with this rivalry that has built, don't forget, Cameron Stone did turn Bryson at Phoenix for the Cup Championship in November. So you have to think that's on the back of Bryson's mind here as we go through lap 117.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think Bryson spun Bryson off of Cam's car at Phoenix, but that's a philosophical debate for another day. Right now, the situation at hand is that Cameron Stone is definitely on pace. He's kind of able to hold off Hixenbaugh, or at least prevent him from really making the overtake. And he kind of has to do that because, being laps down like he is, what else are you going to do? You're out here to race, you're out here to compete, and it's Bryson's job to try to get around him. So at this point, I think they're just having fun. Again, the threat level for Bryson right now is just not too high. Jonathan Delaney still 10 seconds back and counting. Actually, the timer has gone all the way up to 12 seconds back on the timing and scoring. 13 seconds now. I gotta wonder, is something wrong with Jonathan Delaney? He is actually dropping back. He went from 10 seconds to 13 seconds to 15 seconds on the timing and scoring. Almost wonder if he didn't get into the wall there a little bit.
Yeah. He did spin.
Oh
no. As we ride on board, looks like he may have gotten loose.
Coming through turns 1 and 2, very wide, very sweeping, and okay, now we're back onto the straightaway. It would appear. Hold on.
Sorry, trying to find it. I went to previous accident and it put me on Jimmy Costarellos.
There it is. All right, so we got Jonathan Delaney riding that Larson line up there and just gets into the wall and it kind of forces him down the track. He gets sideways. Great recovery. He was able to get that counter steer input pretty much on the money and get it straightened out, but lost a lot of time doing so. And I wondered what happened. Like I said, I was looking at the timing and scoring, and it was 10 seconds, 11, 12, so that was definitely unfortunate for him, but fortunate for Bryson. Definitely no competition from behind right now. He has all the time in the world to battle it out with his former teammate up there.
Yeah, and going back to what we said, I was a spotter for Bryson, so I think he did turn him, but like you said, we'll debate that another day. Fun little team battle here, former team battle. You got to think Cameron Stone won't do anything to ruin Bryson's chances, other than hold him up a bit. Wouldn't you agree with that, Alonzo?
Oh yeah, for sure. These guys, believe it or not, like probably wouldn't believe it seeing the way they race each other. Never mind.
That's going to have to bring out a caution here, as Cameron Stone is around after hitting the wall. No caution though, and it looks like his car is pretty beat up now.
Yeah, and he got into BX there a little bit. Can you get a closer look to see if BX got any damage from that?
Yellow flag has flown. I don't think Bryson got any damage from that. That was a pretty square hit to the door, which on these cars, I think you know as well as I do, Alonzo, the door is probably the best place to get hit, just because there's nothing mechanical there that you have to worry about damaging or bending or anything like that. But that did call the... okay, Mason Lowry involved in something. That would be the cause of the caution.
What's bring out our pace car.
We had 2 incidents there, so going to call a caution.
All right, so it sounds like Bryson Hixenbaugh threw at the caution because there were dual
Broadcast team,
ones.
this is admin abuse. Bullshit caution.
So
Very similar situation with Mason Lowry as we saw with Jimmy Costarellos earlier in the race. Just a little bit tight on exit, getting into that outside wall, and then it kind of shoots you down into the inside part of the track towards the inside retaining wall, and there's not much you can really do about it. And these cars are just so hard to recover. You know, once they start sliding, that's why I was so impressed with Jonathan Delaney earlier, because normally, once these things get sideways, that's the end result.
yeah, absolutely. And it looks like most of the field's going to come down pit road here. Actually, not most of the field because there's only 2 cars on the lead lap. Alonso, why don't you go see what they are doing, and I'll pull you back up here in a couple minutes. Oh, he was already down there. Look at that.
He is on the job.
So far, pretty good race. Kind of going how we expected, as Bryson dominating, which we mentioned previously. As I try to get back up everything, but we continue to see that this field, as Wayne Grassi gets a wave around, that's interesting. Didn't think there was wave arounds, but as we continue, expect the rest of the race here to play out kind of similar. Looks like Jonathan Delaney's going to sit on pit road a little longer.
Possibly getting some damage repaired on that machine. He did have quite a bit of damage from scraping the wall so many times when he stayed out on those old tires, and the handling kind of got away from him. So understandable. Being the last car on the lead lap, you've pretty much got all the time in the world to repair damage, so why not take it?
All right, so it looks like Alonso is back from pit road. Alonso, what are you hearing down there?
Oh man, I'm hearing a lot of curse words, and most of them are coming from Cam.
Like normal.
Yeah. But basically, what I got from that is that B-Hix was saying that Cam needs to get the hell out the way, and Cameron was mad at the way the car was driving, and Mason as well is understandably not a happy camper at the moment. As far as Kevin Steele goes, he said that all of his plans that he had for this race are out the window because of how bad the car is driving right now.
And I do apologize. I just brought up eBay.com. Was looking at something. So if you see that on stream, sorry. Kind of when we were at break, I was looking at some products to buy. But yeah, I mean, I expect nothing less. I mean, these cars are going to handle kind of upsetting because this is not what they're normal to. And it looks like Wayne Grassi did come around, take the lucky dog. We'll come back out on the lead lap. So we do have 3 cars on the lead lap, and Kevin Steele is in 4th. With Chad Edwards 5th, Cameron Stone 6th, Mason Lowry 7th, Bryce Hoffman 8th, and Jimmy Costarellos is back out on track, 81 laps down. As it looks like we are going to get the 1 lap to green here and go back green at the line.
Well, Jimmy promised us 20 laps down to first. I'm not sure about 82 laps down to first. We're just going to have to wait and see. It looks like, is that Jonathan Delaney peeling off again?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing.
I think he's just doing John Delaney things.
Yeah, he's just pulling a Delaney. He's diving down onto the apron, and now he's right back up there. But so the lineup for this is going to be a little bit different, by the way. So the lapped cars are going to be on the bottom lane, just like it would have been back in '87. That is why Jimmy Costarellos is up there next to Bryson Hixenbaugh, as well as having the 24th Kevin Steele down there on the bottom lane. Lapped cars take the bottom. So that was a rule in NASCAR for a long time. I think there are maybe some viewers out there that don't even remember that. So definitely kind of a weird quirk that stayed in the sport maybe a little bit longer than it should have. But the pace car is going to make that hard left turn out of pit road, or onto pit road. Hixenbaugh is going to wait it out. We're going to see when does he get on it. He gets on the loud pedal and a huge jump. Delaney in tow. Bryson Hixenbaugh out to an early lead.
Yeah, and something that we just noticed on that restart, Cameron Stone had to come around Wayne Grassi, and it doesn't look like he got out there quick enough and caused Wayne Grassi to fall way back. It looks like he's a whole corner behind as the battle for first place heats up between Jonathan Delaney and Bryson Hixenbaugh.
Yeah, I fully expect Delaney just to go very hard here. Oh, as it gets loose, he is definitely going hard, but I mean, you kind of have to at this point. This is as close as you might have B Hicks, but Jimmy with a new backup car here might not make it easy for Delaney.
Yeah, Delaney, you said he was going to go hard, and he definitely did. He got a little bit squirrely through the corner. I think he was just on the throttle a little bit too much, trying to take that opportunity to lunge at Bryson and maybe take the lead. With how hard it is to pass at this track, even if you're not quite as fast lap to lap as Bryson is, if you can get ahead of him, you saw between Bryson and Cam just how difficult it can be to make that pass. So you don't have to be the faster car necessarily at Darlington as long as you're out front, because you can kind of control the race. You can run your line, take the defensive line, and really make them work around you. So that would have been Delaney's ideal situation to try and make that lunge, like you said, and get around him. Unfortunately, didn't quite play out. He got loose. Costarellis was right behind him, and Costarellis was able to kind of get that overtake, although, again, it's not for position. And for another 82 laps, at least, for Costarellis, it won't be.
Yeah, I really don't think he's going to have the laps to get back on the lead lap here. Unless this race becomes a caution fest, which I really hope it doesn't. Hopefully towards the end of this race we kind of see some of these guys who we expect to get some damage repaired and make this race interesting. As Jimmy Costarellis is completely sideways going through turn 4.
Saves it.
As Jonathan Delaney, oh boy. Don't think Jonathan Delaney is too happy with that lap car in front of him.
Costarellis promised us he was going to get back on the lead lap. The odds are against him.
The wall.
A little bit of a shove might have been from Delaney. And now here comes Costarellis back to the rear bumper. These guys are fighting. This is no holds barred.
Jimmy
Absolute savagery.
And
there's Jonathan Delaney on the radio having some words for Costarellis.
Somebody would have shook you when you were a baby.
Oh boy. Okay, I apologize for this language.
Things are getting spicy.
I should probably figure out how to mute driver chat from the broadcast.
Or at least just mute Cam.
Yeah. As he asked if Jonathan Delaney was shook as a baby. So I apologize for the foul language here, especially if John's parents are watching. Very sorry. But we continue here as Jonathan Delaney's
into the wall.
They're going to end up wrecking each other here. Oh boy.
Aggressive into the wall.
At least they're giving us something to root for, other than Bryson Hixenbaugh being 5 seconds up on the next guy all race. But definitely getting no holds barred. Current top 5 is Bryson Hixenbaugh 1, Jonathan Delaney 2, Wayne Grassy 3rd, Kevin Steele 4th, 2 laps down, Chad Edwards 5th, 2 laps down, and Cameron Stone 4 laps down and 6th. And the only other car on track right now is Jimmy Costarellis.
Again into the wall.
Down.
Delaney. Ooh, that was close.
Ooh,
Jimmy Costarellis almost got into him, but he was just able to squeeze on by.
He just barely made that work on the bottom.
Delaney is really having a hard time here.
Yeah, it seems like the mistakes are just kind of, it's a bit of a snowball effect. He had that bad start to this run, and it seems like he's just been kind of continually overdriving the car, trying to compensate for that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, once you make one mistake, you really got to try to take it easy and calm down and get back into a rhythm, but it seems like he just continually has been trying to push it and just can't get back into how he was running before. Just mistake after mistake here from Jonathan Delaney.
Yeah, looks like he's going to try to get back in the groove here. Hopefully he can get it wound back up, because we want some competition for Bryson Hixenbaugh up in the lead. As it looks like Wayne Grassy is starting to close the gap a little on Cameron Stone, getting back up towards this lead pack after Cameron Stone held him up. But, of course, we're on lap 137, a little over a third of the way through. And everything's kind of going the way we expected it. Wouldn't you say so, Andre?
Yeah, I would say this is playing out kind of par for the course. These cars are very difficult to drive, so I think we expected to see some difficulties from these drivers in navigating this track and making sure that their equipment is maintained well enough that the tires have the grip that they need. And it's been rough for them, and we have seen a little bit of pit strategy when we had those green flag run pit stops earlier in the race around lap 80 or so. We saw some drivers come in a little bit earlier, come in a little bit later. Chad Edwards pulled he was committed to that long-term strategy. It just didn't quite work out for him. So I think we're seeing everything we expected to see. It's just now
Go,
a
Wayne,
matter
go.
of consistency and trying to see if these guys can hold their own until the very end.
And we're coming back up on Jonathan Delaney and Jimmy Costarellas. Hopefully they play nicely this time. Hopefully nothing too crazy here.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of crazy so far between these two, but quick update on Mason Lowry. He has decided to get into his virtual helicopter and go back home to the year 2020, which honestly, I don't know who would want to do that right now. But anyways, he is out of this race.
Unfortunate end to Mason Lowry, one of the picks of the three of us. But that kind of limits the field where we're almost in the point of the race where everybody's going to be getting paid out, and then maybe we will start to see some action here. As you can see, John Delaney's hands in that car going through that corner, completely sideways.
Yeah, he's working that wheel, but a little bit off topic. But in addition to what Alonso said, I like to imagine that Mason Lowry just immediately shut off iRacing, loaded up Flight Simulator 2020, and just flew from Darlington back to his home state. That would be honestly comedic as it gets. But on screen, you got Jimmy Costarellas getting into the wall on the outside. You got a little bit tight, and here comes Jonathan Delaney in that 88 machine. These two, they've been fighting it out for most of this run, and I don't think it's over yet.
Yeah, absolutely not. Let's go on board with Jonathan Delaney here for a couple laps, just to see what his car is doing. As we've seen him loose, and looks like he has some right side damage on the hood as they go through turn 1 and 2. And John's in the wall a little there.
That's close.
And they continue the battle. John Delaney definitely has the faster car. Oh God!
Oh,
and it looks like he is
loose.
still loose.
He got into him a little bit there, but looks like he got it back under control here.
Yeah.
I think that bump might have been what got him loose. He got on the rear bumper, and it just kind of unsettled his car. That was very crazy to see, especially when you can see the inputs on the steering wheel that John is making. He definitely had to make some quick evasive maneuvers there to keep that thing under control, like Alonso said. And I think he's got the speed to catch back up to Costarellas. It's just a matter of doing it. And then once he gets back up there, I think this battle is going to continue.
Yeah. Jonathan Delaney's quickly losing. Quickly losing Bryson Hixenbaugh in his front window. No real challenge from behind as he tries to get around Costarellas.
I'll let you buy it.
And looks like Wayne Grassy and Cameron Stone are going at it back in the field.
Thankfully, this isn't a points race, because I would not be happy about a lap car
I'll see you in 8 laps.
racing me like that. But hey, this is all for fun, so I'm sure these guys are having a good time.
That's the nice thing about these exhibition events.
Oh, Delaney's going around.
Oh,
Can he save it? He can get it. He gets it back going straight, but he got into the wall there and almost went around. He saved it though. No caution.
See if we can get a rewind maybe and get another view of that. Perhaps not entirely. Same situation as before. He just got a little tight into the corner, and then once
He's loose again. Saved it again. Not as bad this time though.
So John having all sorts of trouble. He might have flat spotted his tires with that first spin there, Alonso. Maybe he flat spotted his tires, and that's why he got loose that second time.
Yeah, those tires are definitely hot. Like I said, like if I were in his position, I would definitely need to back down into those corners and try to cool down those tires a little bit. But it seems like Jonathan Delaney just isn't that guy to do that.
No, he's a very aggressive driver, and if you give him a car with 900 horsepower, he's going to use 900 horsepower because that is the kind of driver he is. He very talented driver, but I kind of described him in the IROC series as wreckers or checkers. He wins or he wrecks trying to. And honestly, a lot of the all-time greats in real-life motorsports have been that exact same way. Look at Bubba Stewart in the Monster Energy Motocross series. He was, if he didn't fall off his bike, if he didn't wreck, he won. And he is one of the all-time greats. And that's just kind of
definitely notorious for that.
Absolutely, and that's what I compare John to. I mean, he's so fast, he's so skilled, but he doesn't have the whoa! Chad Edwards, it looks like. Was that Chad? He just passed by on the straightaway. Yeah, 97 machine, Chad Edwards having a lot of trouble. You can see he was coming out of the corner when he just broke loose. No contact with the wall or anything. Just
Yeah,
completely snapped around on
he
him.
got really loose there. Like I said, like honestly, like you just don't know what this car is gonna do sometimes. Either it gets really tight or really loose. And so far we've seen the cars get pretty tight for some guys and they hit the wall, but for Chad it got loose there and he lost it. Thankfully, he's still facing the right direction and we are still on the green.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the biggest benefactor here again is Bryson
Hey,
Hixenbaugh.
David Hoops, did you fucking swallow the mic or something?
And there's Cameron Stone again with his antics as asking if David Hoots swallowed the mic, referring to Bryson as being the admin of this session. But they're just trying to have some fun. Obviously, we're only 150 laps of 367 into this race. And a lot of these guys do have damage. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue. And who else is going to drop out before the end of this race.
Now, I'm honestly surprised that Wayne Grassy hasn't made up much time on Delaney with all the amount of trouble he's had.
Was that
It
8
doesn't
laps?
seem like Wayne
I think it was
has
6.
much damage, so I don't know why he just hasn't been able to catch Delaney. That's really surprising, honestly.
Speaking of Delaney, whoa! Delaney has pushed Kevin Steele into the outside wall. Hard contact to the rear bumper. The 24 sliding to the outside safer barrier. That's going to definitely, I think, affect his car. That was a hard enough hit that did some real damage, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan Delaney here at Darlington does have that issue of running into the back of people's bumper. Me being on the receiving end of that during the Cup Series race here earlier in the year in September.
I really thought there was a yellow out there.
Just keeps driving through people. But like you mentioned, wreckers are checkers, and he's going to wreck people to get to that victory.
I think the reason Wayne is so far back is it seems like he thought that we were under caution and he might have slowed down quite a bit, so he lost a lot of time there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to ride on board here with Wayne for a couple laps just to see what his car is doing through this race. Something I noticed, it looks like his line is pretty straightforward. It really hasn't varied in terms of his motion of driving. And as we ride on board, as we go back around the track, you can kind of see the tire marks where people are spinning off of the corners. Seems to be the biggest issue for people. As Bryson Hixenbaugh puts Chad Edwards another lap down. And we're going to see a lot of tire marks going through here into turn 2. You can kind of see where they're all merging into one spot. Or, sorry, that's turn... Yep. Nope. Yep. That was turn 2. So, it's definitely where they're spinning off of.
Of course, Wayne Grassy with one of the cleanest cars on the track right now. Very little damage on that car, and he is one of the few to have not really sustained any damage thus far. So he is kind of has a bit of an advantage in that way.
Delaney with some issues here. You slowed down a little bit. Let Kevin Steele by. I'm not sure why, but he just went into the apron here and just slowed down quite a bit.
I have to imagine that damage is starting to affect him a little.
Yeah, the car is pretty beat up.
Yeah, that thing's taken a number of good licks throughout this race. Definitely, like I said before, it adds up. Every little hit will add up, and eventually the car just kind of gives way. And I just don't think the handling is there anymore. I don't think the speed is there anymore. I think he's just kind of limping that thing around at this point.
Yeah, and especially with only 7 cars now out on track, every position is going to matter in terms of money as he's in the wall. Get there going through 3 and 4. Looks like he is really struggling. You have to imagine that car won't be able to take very many more hits, Andre.
No, he's going to have to really be ginger on that thing if he wants to make it to the end of this race, because about, like you said, just a bit over a third of the way through, and he's kind of getting to the point now where a couple more good hits and that thing may be done for.
Yeah, he fell off the back of Kevin Steele here, who looks like he may be in a great position to win some money here in the top 3 if he can keep the car clean. Obviously had a little damage earlier on in the race, but since then, really haven't noticed him hit that wall at all. Seems like he kind of backed it down, knowing everybody else seems to be having issues and wants to be there at the end.
And it's been a while since we've checked in on our leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh. He is now up to a 13-second lead over Jonathan Delaney. Wayne Grassy is 18 seconds back. So a very commanding lead. That is, again, one of the really two clean cars on the track. Bryson Hixenbaugh has very little damage on that machine. As you see, he has recently worked his way around the lap car of Chad Edwards. You can see him back there in the distance. But for right now, for Bryson, it's just a matter of don't make mistakes, don't spin out, don't wreck. And if he can do that, I think for now at least, it's a pretty calm race.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is closing back in on the back of Cameron Stone, so maybe that will give us some excitement here in the middle of this race, as there's real no battle on track. And just as I say that, it looks like Jonathan Delaney is back to the back bumper of Kevin Steele.
Yeah, and I just want to remind you real quick that we're not even halfway yet. So once again, another reminder that this is a long race. And someone like Wayne Grassy, who, as we see Delaney maybe getting loose here, but gathers it back up. But like I was saying, someone like Wayne Grassy, who really hasn't gotten into any trouble, hasn't made anyone really mad yet. We still have more than another whole half of this race left, and anything can happen still. So Wayne has been taking care of his car. He's still in the top 3. He's on a lead lap. So I would watch out for him to, still be in contention.
Absolutely. And it looks like Jonathan Delaney is trying to get around Kevin Steele. Obviously, Kevin Steele probably is still not too happy with Jonathan Delaney pushing him up into the wall. So this could be interesting here. And just as I say that, it looks like Bryson Hixenbaugh is closing back in on the back of Cam. Kevin kind of blocking John from that position. Why don't you say we go back to Bryson Hixenbaugh and see what he is about to handle with Cameron Stone, Andre?
Yeah, Bryson and Cam, anytime you see these two anywhere near each other on the track, sparks are going to fly. And they always put on a good show. But this is going to be interesting because I think Cam, if he wasn't frustrated the first time he was battling it out with Bryson, he's definitely frustrated now. So I don't think he's going to really give too much space to Bryson. I think he's going to play it pretty aggressive here, but we're just going to have to find out.
Yeah, and you have to be hoping that, like, the field back here, they have to be hoping that this contact kind of leads to something for Bryson. Obviously, having this almost whole lap on the field, you have to think that these drivers are starting to be like, all right, well, we want to play too. We want to be up in that lead.
Delaney into the wall again after just riding Kevin Steele's back bumper the whole straightaway, and then just gets into that corner and just gets into that wall. Just consistent overdriving by Delaney here. I think he just needs to just calm down a little bit and have some more patience, because he's just making too many mistakes here and continuing to damage that car.
And as we go back on to this battle between Bryson Hixenbaugh and Cameron Stone, not even for position, Cameron is 4 laps down. You have to imagine Bryson probably enjoying this a little, having some fun battling. Obviously, having a 15-second lead is nothing to shy your nose away at, as he did win the Darlington race earlier this year by a whole lap on the entire field.
Oh yeah, this is definitely one of Bryson's better tracks, and you can tell it. He is absolutely loving this right now, just driving away from the field. But I think his progress is going to be stalled out here. He is. Whoa, Cameron Stone loose in front of him, completely sideways, Tokyo drifting it. I don't know if he saved that or not. The camera cut away. Okay, he's down on the apron now. A little bit of damage to that right side. Maybe he got into the wall. Let's take a rewind and see what happened there.
It does look like he tried to keep it off of Bryson. Checked up. I don't think he hit
I think he
anything.
kept it off the wall. Yeah.
I mean, we've been treated to some pretty impressive saves, especially last night with Alonso doing that 360 no-scope type save. And then today, just not hitting the wall, keeping it clean, as he has come down pit road, and it looks like pitting for some tires 39 laps into the run.
If I was a betting man, I don't think he's taking tires.
Oh, you don't?
I think he's coming in for a Coors Light, and he's turning off the simulation.
We'll have to wait and see what he does here. Obviously, he must not be too happy with the car. Looks like he is going to stay in the car, get tires. So maybe he is going to stay in this race. Don't want to pull him up in the middle of his pit stop though, because don't want any exact f-bombs dropped here on the broadcast. As we go back to the battle between Jonathan Delaney and Kevin Steele, Jonathan Delaney right back on that back bumper, Andre.
He's there again, and like Alonso said, it's kind of just been this consistent overdriving. It could just be, hey, it's an exhibition race. We're just having fun. Maybe that's the way Delaney sees it. He's sliding up contact.
Right.
They
These two guys are not
Oh.
happy with each other.
Kevin Steele cannot be happy with that move.
Definitely.
Yeah, Kevin got done dirty there. I think he got and then Delaney into the wall after making the pass. And you see the hand on the steering wheel, absolutely juking that thing, trying to save it. Kevin Steele into the wall again on his own back there, it looked like. So, that was one of those situations. I think Delaney drove it in a little bit too deep, got up on the door, and they just kind of got stuck together. And, of course, they got tight on exit of the corner, and Kevin Steele got the short end of that stick. But Delaney now, he's got the track position. That wasn't for actual position. Remember, Kevin is multiple laps down. Jonathan Delaney, he is 15 seconds behind the leader, so I don't think he really has any chance of running him down outside of a caution. So again, I'm not entirely sure why he was driving so hard. That was just kind of one of those things, but it happened, and now he's got clear track, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Let's just go back to Bryson here. Really haven't been paying too much attention to him, other than the moments that he's had with Cameron Stone. Just kind of riding his own race, not really doing anything to put the car in danger, and it shows because he is up to almost 16 seconds on the guy in second place. Alonso, it looks like we do have somebody in the infield care center ready to be interviewed, and his name is Mr. Cameron Stone, so this should be really interesting.
All right, let's bring him up.
Cameron Stone, this is the guys up in the booth. You got a copy?
Cameron Stone, you got us?
Yo, you got me?
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and clear. Tell us a little bit about racing the leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh, and it seemed like you were trying not to get into him there and just got loose.
Yeah, I did it last time he caught me. I was just trying not to lose another lap. I hadn't really been able to race anybody the whole time, so I was just having fun with it. Then that second time, I just kind of came off the wall going into one and hit the apron a little hard, got loose, and almost got into him, saved it. Would have hated to do that. Didn't really get the wall either, but I'm gonna take a breather, get some of these repairs done on the car. Might go back out there just to finish ahead of Jimmy, but straight up not having a good time right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking earlier about me joining one of the practice sessions the other days, and just seeing how this car was driving, definitely not easy. I felt it was a very loose car, very, very hard to drive, and I know you didn't have many laps of practice at all, maybe like 6 or 7 if that. But you told me earlier that you thought you had this thing figured out. Can you kind of explain to me what you had figured out, and were you right, or did that change later on?
I thought what I had figured out was I could drive a little bit. What I figured out pretty quick was once you hit the wall really hard one time, it don't matter how good you can drive because the car just won't turn anyway. So it's tight to begin with, and then you pound the right side off of it, and it's like a pregnant dump truck on ice. So yeah, that's what I've been dealing with for about 100 laps, and it kind of sucks. You can definitely tell Bryson's probably run 2,000 laps at this place, and I ran 5. So you get what you put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Cam, while you get some of this damage repaired, any drink of choice that you're drinking here tonight, since you already kind of demonetized my video with all the curse words that you were dropping on driver chat.
I mean, sorry about that. I don't know if we were gonna make much money off of this video anyway. We're not.
Nope.
But
Making $0
drinking water right now. Probably gonna transition to something a little harder. Got Coors Light on the car, so probably got to give them a little shout out. Drink some frosty beverages here. It might end up like the last Darlington race that you were a part of, where I got pretty lit by the end of it and had a pretty good time running 50 laps down. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, Andre, you got anything to add for Cameron Stone here up in the booth before we let him go back down there and drink some water?
Oh, Delaney.
Quote unquote water. So Cam, I gotta ask, with this altercation and the fighting on track between you and Bryson, we know that you and Bryson have a bit of a risk alliance as of the last few weeks. Is this going to affect the risk alliance?
Well, that was kind of a one-off event anyway. You're my real risk buddy, so hopefully you don't hold that against me too much. I just work with whoever needs to be worked with. Hopefully we can play risk here sometime soon. I'm off for the next 2 weeks, so I'm pretty available. I just hate Bryson on the track, day in, day out, whenever, wherever, whatever car it is. I don't like him. Yeah.
Whoa.
All right. Well, you heard it first. Cam would rather be playing risk, and he does not like Bryson on the track. Strong words, but whoa, Jimmy Costrellos might be going another lap down. Add on to that 82. He got into the outside wall pretty hard. But Cameron, we thank you for your time. Hopefully you can get back in the car after drinking some water and keep it in a straight line and maybe finish ahead of Costrellos.
Yeah, man. God bless. Shout out to the fam if you guys are still watching. I know I'm kind of sucking it up out here, putting a bad name on the family, but tune in for Daytona. We'll be a little bit better.
All right, and that was Mr. Cameron Stone that we had up in the booth. Definitely an interesting interview. Did not expect those type of words coming from Cameron Stone about Bryson Hixenbaugh tonight.
It was strong words, but I think it's been known that BX and Cam, they're good friends off the track, but you put them on the track, and things change. Things change very quickly once you put them on the track, and obviously a lot of that comes from the history that through the Cup Series League they ran last year, and the sort of altercations they had on track, and of course they're two very talented drivers duking it out for the win week in and week out, and that kind of thing tends to happen. But Kevin Steele now making his way down pit road. I don't know, Alonso, do you think this is a scheduled stop?
Sorry, having some difficulties there, but it's a possibility. I think it's around that time when you might think about it, but we'll see here if anyone else decides to go with him.
Now, you may also remember, going back to the first green flag run we had, Kevin did blow a tire on that right front. So you would have to imagine he's trying to probably short pit a little early here, get some tires, get back out there, and kind of see, hopefully he doesn't blow another tire and keeps up the pace and battle for that top three, as it sounds like somebody's in the wall on track. I don't know who that necessarily was. Oh, it's Chad, and he's spinning as he comes down, and it looks like he's going to miss everything as he continues on after hitting the wall.
Rough sequence there, but yeah, going back to Kevin a little bit, at this point I don't think he has much to lose. He had quite the lead to fourth, and I don't think he was gonna make up much ground besides that, so not much to lose, maybe a little bit to gain. We'll see if it's the right strategy call for him.
Absolutely, and as we ride on with Chad Edwards, struggling a little with the car, as it looks like Jimmy Costrellos is coming down pit road, adding on to that 82 laps down. He was in the wall a couple times, and his car is definitely showing it. Definitely not going to win best appearing car in field. Would you agree with that, Andre?
Yeah, I would have to agree. It looks like Bryson might be getting into some lap traffic there. I'm looking at the timing and scoring, and Wayne Grassy is indeed 30 seconds back. I seen them go by on that pit road cam, and indeed, he is getting into lap traffic. I think Wayne Grassy just got on the radio and told Bryson to go around him.
Thank you, Wayne.
So I don't think they're going to battle it out like Cam and Bryson were earlier, so should be pretty easy. He's going to make that pass on the bottom, and around he went. So Bryson back out to a commanding lead, and I think at this point, if you're Bryson, doesn't really matter what strategy you pick. You've got a big enough lead, you could shortstop, you could stay out, run it dry, and see what happens, or you could pretty much take any strategy you want.
Yeah, and just some note, we just crossed halfway, a little hour and 53 minutes into this race. So this race has been going on for almost 2 hours and has been, for the most part, pretty clean. As we can see, pit road is starting to fill up with cars. Three cars on pit road here. Looks like they're all getting some damage repaired. Kevin Steele getting some damage. Probably taking the long con here, saying, you know what, let me get some of this damage fixed, and then get back out there and hopefully pick up a couple laps.
Yeah, it's getting to that time, like Dirt said, as far as BX goes, he can kind of just do whatever he wants. He has 22 seconds to play around with, so I'm sure if he wants to go sit in the pits and grab himself some oranges, which is his sponsor, or maybe call up Knee High Septic, he could do that, because he can just afford to, honestly. At this point, he's built up such a lead, as we see Jonathan Delaney riding that wall, and he finally gets off of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Delaney continuing to struggle here, but he and along with B Hicks, they are the only two cars on the lead lap.
Absolutely. And why don't you say we go to a quick commercial break here, guys, so that way we can regather ourselves, as looks like pit stops are about to take place here in about 12 laps. Sound good?
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Again, we're going to leave the action up on your screen, so stay tuned, and we will be back.
And just always remember, guys, for turkeys, we kill our pets and you eat them. Thanks. And we are back from commercial break with Jonathan Delaney bringing out a caution immediately after Kevin Steele had wrecked.
You asshole.
And as you hear there, Jimmy Cosrell is not happy with that caution, but some action there as we were in commercial break. Let's go back to the John accident first.
This is not the first time we... Oh, wow, it looks like he just got into the wall, slid down in front of Costarellos there. Nowhere for Jimmy to go. I mean, that was just one of those situations where you got a car sliding right down in front of you. There's nothing you can really do as a driver but try to slow down and hope for the best. So unfortunate for both of them.
And then while we were at commercial break, Kevin Steele had some issues as well. Looked like right in about the same place of the track. Jonathan Delaney again. Kevin Steele had nowhere to go. And limited damage, not as much as Jonathan Delaney. It seems like Delaney may be a little nemesis out on track today, Andre. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I don't want to say anything too bad about Delaney. He's my driver, you know. I mean, he's not on my team, but you know, I root for him. But I will say, if he was playing NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup right now, everybody on the track would have red icons above them. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, it hasn't been the cleanest race from him by any means. So I'm sure he'll get a lot of people talking to him post race and letting him know. Maybe it's all in good fun, and maybe no one's actually mad. But we all know everybody here is competitive, and they all have that competitive mentality in them. So maybe we might have one or two people that actually have not been appreciating the way he's been racing this race.
Yeah, Alonzo, why don't you go hop in that Discord channel and see what's going on? See what they're talking about, and let us know when you want to come back up.
All right, I'll be right back.
So there you have it. Of course, a lot of incidents today, and now we're down to 3 cars on the lead lap again, Andre. A lot of guys having issues today. Kind of wish we had a couple more cars and for a little better of a race. While we're in this little pit stop break here, why don't we go back over some of the prizes as we're getting close to some of the prizes. As we mentioned, the pole award, currently $10. That is going to go to Jonathan Delaney, who won pole. Most laps led, currently Bryson Hixenbaugh is in position for that. Most positions gained would have to be Chad Edwards, currently up in 4th place, looking good for that. The leader at the end of lap 202, as we close in on that, it's going to be hard to vote for anybody other than Bryson. Wouldn't you agree with that, Andre?
Oh yeah, I would say it's probably going to be Bryson for sure, unless Jonathan Delaney is able to get a lot of damage repaired and maybe make some sort of Hail Mary move on this restart here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the fastest lap in the race currently, that is going to go to Bryson Hixenbaugh as well. So it looks like he may be cleaning up here in his race today.
Yeah, he may be paying himself a lot of money here. We're just going to have to wait and see. But his pit sequence was a little interesting. It was one of those situations that, we got a caution not too long after people had already pitted under green. So, if this race was under normal circumstances, it would have been a situation where these drivers could choose, do I want to pit, do I want to stay out? But because everybody's so separated by laps and seconds, and it's just a very largely separated field, it kind of just made sense for everybody to come down, get 4 tires and fuel, and go on their merry way. So just kind of a very standard pit sequence, and now we're going to be racking them and stacking them and seeing what maybe John Delaney can pull off on this restart.
Yeah, Alonzo, so what did they have to say about John Delaney down there?
Well, BX said that he's hit everything, including the backup pace car on the infield.
So, channeling his inner Days of Thunder, where John Delaney is trying to go double file here on the restart, but as we all know, that is not the case. What did Kevin have to say about Jonathan?
He was not happy at all. He seems to not really want to talk to anyone in that Discord, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
So as we get ready to go back green here, we can see Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to lead him back to green with Jonathan Delaney right on the bumper.
Green.
And Chad Edwards in that top line as he scrapes the wall going on the restart. And looks like we're back green, Andre.
Yeah, it's the second time that happened.
A huge lead for Bryson Hixenbaugh there right out the gate. Seems like maybe a little bit of an issue for him on that restart. Not quite getting the jump that he was looking for, although he did kind of close that gap back up through 1 and 2. So as they make their way down 3 and 4, we're going to have to see. John Delaney's going to send it in really deep. You can see he closed the gap by nearly 3 to 4 car lengths. And he is on the bottom, getting a little bit sideways almost. He is actually challenging Bryson. This is the first time in a long time anybody's had anything for that 63 machine.
Let's see
Absolutely.
if he can actually get to him, because getting to his bumper is one thing, but as we all know, getting around is a whole other animal. So, um, Jonathan definitely has the speed for now, even with that beat up car, which I don't know how he hasn't had a little bit of engine damage at least, but
Telling
we
me to
see
wait for you,
how
Kevin.
just how
Did you
hard he's
get black
pushing it,
flag
just
there?
almost drifting that car around.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Kevin Steele may have gotten black flagged on that restart as somebody just hit the wall again. Probably Jonathan Delaney, if I had to guess. But Kevin Steele is back down pit
It
road.
was Chad Edwards.
Oh, Chad Edwards with more contact with the wall, and that right front tire is farther outside the car. As we go back to the current situation, Cam Stone battling Jonathan Delaney on track. Not for position, though.
Cam did get back out on track after drinking his water, and he's just kind of out there for fun at this point. I mean, he's 35 laps down. I don't think he's going to be making that up, but he's going to get to the inside of Jonathan Delaney. He's going to make a pretty textbook pass right there. Now John Delaney's kind of boxed in. He's got Costarellos behind him, Stone in front of him. He's going to have to figure it out.
Oh!
As contact is made, Costarellos gives John the boot. Kind of got him sideways into the corner there, and now John's falling even further back.
Yeah, and as that happened, Kevin Steele has gotten out of his car, and as Alonso mentioned, was not too happy. Probably going to go drink some water as well, and take the rest of the night off, and enjoy this one from the ride home. As Jonathan Delaney is on the back bumper of Jimmy Costarellos, you got to wonder if he's going to repay the favor here, Andre.
Well, if he does repay the favor, I feel like he's repaying a repaid favor. Because I think Costarellos was... Whoa!
Oh, he gets
There
into
he-
the wall.
And John
Yeah,
hits
I'm
another
that.
thing.
Whoa! Almost coming up in front of Chad, nearly a Kevin LePage. I don't know how much more that car can take, guys.
Yeah, I'm just so surprised that he was even able to keep up with B Hicks, like, just for as long as he did. And I mean, there's not even that many cars left to get hit by, so we'll see what he can do here.
Yeah, I mean, as the field gets spread thinner and thinner, there's less things to hit. Which, for Jonathan Delaney, maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know if he's going for the high score out here or what's going on, but it's been a rough night for Delaney.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there was no award for most incident points, which, while we have a quick second, let's just check in on that. Oh, I can't see that because I'm not actually in the race currently. And as we continue, we can see Bryson Hixenbaugh still in the lead by 10 seconds over Jonathan Delaney, as Wayne Grassy closes in for second.
He is closing the gap quite a bit, and I'd have to imagine with the cleaner car, he should have no issue running down Delaney and potentially making the pass. It's just going to be a matter of kind of working around the aggression levels that we've seen out of Delaney and maybe trying to make a clean pass. We'll see. He gets down to the inside, coming through 3 and 4. Now across the stripe, it's going to be an easy pass on the bottom, up to a 3-car length lead before they even reach turn 1.
Absolutely. And with only 5 cars remaining out on track, 6 cars, looks like the top 5 cars, there will be some money paid out. Unfortunately for Kevin Steele, Mason Lowry, and Bryce Hoffman, they are not going to be in any money situation here.
Yeah, if you look at the way it stands right now, Cameron Stone is in 6th. He's 35 laps down. He would have been 33 laps, I believe, behind Kevin Steele. So within 33 laps, he's going to overtake Kevin for that 5th place spot, and he will be the final paid position driver at that point.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, Wayne Grassy has really been taking care of his car. So even though Jonathan has, it seems like, been purposely trying to just rub off any sheet metal that's left, just now Wayne passed him and looking to secure that 2nd place position. So unless something happens to B Hicks, he probably won't win. but just him having more car than almost anyone else really says a lot about how he's been driving this race. As Delaney gets around again and saves it one more time.
Oh, John. Don't think racing 87 cars is in his future. Would you agree with that, Andre?
I'm not sure what he's doing right now is racing 87 cars, so I'd have to agree. He's had a rough night. We'll give him that. These cars are not for everybody. We've talked about how difficult these cars are to drive, and as a testament, Delaney is not a bad driver by any means. He's very talented, and it just goes to show these cars, as loose as they can get, and as the damage accumulates, they get away from you, man. They're hard to handle.
Absolutely. As the current battle on track is between Cameron Stone and Jimmy Costarellas, you have to think most of these guys now just racing for some fun, with not much else going out on track. They're just going to make some laps here. As we say that, Cameron Stone and Jimmy Costarellas both in the wall at the same exact time in the same exact corner, doing synchronized wall hits. So, like I said, you got to think they're just racing for some fun, as it looks like Wayne Grassy closes in on Chad Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, that's all you can really do is race for fun.
Cam almost around. He got hit by Jimmy there.
Ooh, that could have been something. Looks like a lot of damage to the front end of that 4 machine. Let's go ahead and rewind and take a look at that there, Cody. Whoa!
Oh,
And then Cam into the wall again.
More damage.
I think Cam's water is making a comeback there on track after hitting the wall. As they continue,
He did tell me that he has had 2 beverages since last time we interviewed him, so maybe those are starting to take into effect here with his driving.
Well, sounds like someone's a lightweight. Anyway, continuing on. And he's in the wall again. Just keeps hitting that wall. Don't think that car is going to be able to take many more hits, Andre.
No, although if Delaney's car is anything to go off of, it might be able to. I mean, we've seen a lot of hits on that 88 machine of John Delaney, and I think Cameron Stone can probably withstand a few more. We're just going to have to see. I'm not sure how many more hits the driver can take. I mean, there's been a lot of hits to these drivers inside the car, but yeah, right now, just a lot of separation throughout the field, and these guys are pretty much just duking it out for fun back there.
Chad Edwards just took a massive hit into that wall, and he let Wayne Grassy on by.
Absolutely.
So,
hopefully,
a lot of people here at this point in the race are just trying to hang on, I feel like.
Absolutely. So you would have to imagine. Oh, there Chad gets sideways a little. Brett gathers it back up. Andre, why don't you say we let them go kind of gyro cam on our leader here for a couple laps?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get on that gyro cam and see exactly what Bryson's doing to get around this track so quick.
Kind of enters in that middle lane going around that track there, Andre. Have to think that's part of the strategy, and then coming out of the corners, kind of dives low and comes back up to the wall.
Yeah, a thing to consider, though, with the lines that Bryson's running is they might not necessarily be the fastest lines, but they are definitely the safest to enter in the middle, to kind of keep yourself in the middle of the corners. It's definitely where you want to be. It's where the car feels comfortable, and comfort is what it's all about right now. I mean, he's got a 13-second lead over second place, and the gap is only extending lap by lap. He's got no pressure. His only focus right now is staying in the game, and that's exactly how he's going to do it, is by taking those safe lines like that.
And as we go on to John Delaney, as you can see, sounds like he's having a little harder of a time keeping the pedal down in the corners currently.
Hey, Cody, is this what you feel like every week?
And as you can hear,
that's a wall.
And as you can hear, Cameron Stone's trying to talk some crap.
I do not endorse Cam Stone.
And Bryson Hixenbaugh does not endorse. So, Andre, as you can see, sounds like some of these drivers are struggling.
Good thing I quit your team.
Oh, and we still hear more crap talk going on.
I tell you what, let's just be quiet and let this feud play out. Let's listen in.
2020 season.
Sounds like the feud's over there. Obviously some crap talk. Cameron Stone.
See you in 80 laps.
Oh, Cam is not having a good time at all.
Yeah, I mean, it can be kind of frustrating to be out here 35 laps down trying to just run laps really without much of a purpose outside of fun, especially when the race is so lengthy. I mean, we still got 150 laps to go, and these guys have already been racing for upwards of 2 hours now. So I got to think maybe some of these guys are getting some cabin fever inside those cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're still battling out on track, especially between Cameron Stone, Wayne Grassy, and Chad Edwards, as they kind of have been bunched up back on track, with Chad Edwards leading that little group, currently 2 laps down. Definitely.
Earlier in the race, Chad Edwards did kind of try to pull that long run strategy, and if he could have got a caution at the right time, I think that strategy definitely would have been a huge benefit to him. But it didn't quite work out for him, and he's just kind of been in this 2 lap down limbo ever since. He hasn't really dropped any more laps, but he has not really gained that time back either. So it's been a rough race, but not as difficult for Chad Edwards as maybe some of these other guys have had it for sure.
Yeah, I want to say, I mean, he's had moments where he's shined. He did lead a few laps, as we see every time I talk. Delaney's just sideways. I'm sorry, but Chad, he's been solid, man, especially compared to a lot of these other guys who've been in a lot of trouble. Chad led some laps earlier, like Dirk said, staying out way longer than anyone else. So he did make a bold strategy move, which hasn't really paid off, but him staying in that limbo of being 2 laps down is maybe kind of paying off for him, because we don't know how much longer Delaney can hold off with this car, or if his car will last any much longer. And he's in a position to make himself some money for tonight, and he might gain a position or two before this thing is all done.
Absolutely. As we look currently on board with John's car, definitely going to be a car that they decide to just scrap. Bring it to the scrap yard, sell some of the pieces off of it to some adoring fans of Jonathan Delaney. I think Andre's going to be the first one in line for that sheet metal, hopefully signed by John, as he's in.
I'm actually not even in the booth right now. I'm actually in line right now. I've got my tent set up, phoning it in, waiting for that sheet metal to go on sale. I am customer number one.
I'm sorry to tell you this, Andre, but I don't think there's going to be much sheet metal left in that car once this race is over.
Well, he and I worked out a deal. At the very least, I'll be getting a door. As long as he can keep a door on that thing, we'll be fine.
You might be lucky to get the roof at this point.
We'll have to see. I mean, he hasn't got upside down yet, but that's a very firm yet.
As we're talking, Jimmy Costarella's back on pit road. Looks like getting some more tires for his car. Come back out. It looks like he just pitted last lap and putting on some fresh rubber to come back out here and trying to finish under 100 laps down.
He is making that effort. He said he was going to go back out and finish the race, and by God, he's doing it. He came back on track, and his luck really didn't get much better after he came back out. He obviously had that altercation with Delaney, a few issues there, and got a little bit more damage. But despite that, he's been toughed out. And now, ooh, that was a hard hit. That could be. Well, he got it rolling though.
All right, man. Caution
is out. Caution is out for Chad Edwards there after the incident. Why don't we go back and see what happened?
Yeah, once again, just getting loose off of that corner and just facing the wrong direction. Him just not being able to roll out of that quick enough brings out that caution, but it's just the ongoing theme of exiting the corner. Either you get too tight or too loose.
Absolutely. Unfortunate announcers jinxed there, Andre. Just saying how well he was running, and a minute after, he just gets loose and hits the wall.
Yeah, he just got a little bit loose, and that's what this track is doing to these cars for sure. as Alonso's making his way into the other server to see what the driver is thinking under caution. But yeah, it seems like the car got away from him a couple times this race, and that time, unfortunately, he took a heavy hit. I'm surprised that the car is still as operational as it looks, because with how hard he hit that inside wall, I would have thought that was his day done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just got word from Kevin Steele. Getting wrecked 3 times by Jonathan Delaney was his limit. So he left. Didn't want to do anything he regretted later on. So I can't say I don't blame him for leaving. I know I've had incidents with people, especially in the truck series, where I've taken people out because I was frustrated. As Chad almost hits Cameron Stone under caution. Definitely not having a good time here, it appears. Anyway, continuing on, it looks like Chad is good, the lucky dog, that's impressive, especially since he was the reason the caution came out. So I don't know 100% what's going on, but hey, can't say I fully don't. I don't support having more cars closer to the lead up. Would you agree with that, Andre?
Oh, sorry, microphone issues. I'd have to agree, 100%. But it's one of those things. It's frustrating, to have a race where I think the frustration level is amplified when you have such a small field, because when you have a 30 or 40 car field, no matter where you're at, no matter how bad you're doing, usually you have somebody to compete with. But with these smaller fields, once something happens and your race gets thrown out the window, there's not really anybody to compete with, and it just kind of feels hopeless in a way. So I can definitely see where the frustration comes from.
Absolutely. Alonzo, what did those drivers have to say down there on pit road?
Well, for some reason, Chad just seemed to not be very happy with Cam. He was saying that he was pressing the intimidator button there behind him and just distracted him to the point where he just lost his car. I was able to also speak with Jonathan Delaney, and he was saying that at this point we see, who is it? Jimmy getting into Cam under caution, hitting him under yellow. Okay. But anyways, yeah, Delaney said he's pretty much given up at this point. He doesn't know how much car he's got left. He doesn't know how much longer he can continue, but it seems like he's just kind of riding it until this thing dies at this point.
Absolutely. Looks like a friendly nudge from Jimmy on the back of Cameron Stone. Both look like they're about to get their laps back here. Just as I say that, Cameron Stone goes down pit road. So definitely some interesting storylines going in with 140 laps left. Looks like there will be 6 cars remaining in this race as we continue. Let's see if Chad Edwards can get out before the pace car here.
He's going to have a lot of damage to fix. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get that thing out of pit road before the pace car, if he's going to just cut those repairs short. We'll have to see.
It looks like he's staying in there.
Don't say I can't blame him. He also has 32 laps on Cameron Stone for that 4th position. So probably worthwhile to get some of this damage repaired as we're 1 to green here coming down the backstretch. Andre, why don't you take us over here as we get ready to go green again? What do you expect to happen in these next 140 laps?
Well, what have we been seeing for the last 150 laps? I think Bryson's going to get out to a pretty early lead. Wayne Grassy, he has been very consistent. He's been driving that car to the best of his ability, and I commend him on that. But it just seems like the raw speed that Bryson has is just unmatchable. I think we're going to see him get out to another big lead. Jonathan Delaney, I think he's going to make another hard charge at it on this restart, but we're just going to have to see where that goes.
Absolutely, and the pace car is back off as Cameron Stone and Chad Edwards are on pit road. Wonder if Cam's grabbing another water as we get ready to go here, and Bryson Hixenbaugh fires off first. First time that it looks like that Wayne Grassy was able to stay up there, as the previous 2 times he was the lucky dog and kind of got messed up with cars coming around through pits cycle.
Looks like
Go ahead, Alonzo.
I was saying, Wayne Grassy looks like he might be struggling a little bit to keep up. I don't know if he just doesn't have the speed or he's just trying to continue to take care of that car. But B. Hicks and Jimmy Costarello, who is 89 laps down, are driving away from the rest of these guys.
Yeah, Costarello's got a great run out of turn 2 on the initial lap of that restart, and it got him right up to the bumper of Bryson. But now he seems to be falling back a little bit. I think he got into the wall,
Yeah.
potentially. I think that might have slowed him down, and he got sideways there. So that car fighting him at every step.
And as we talk, you can see that Jonathan Delaney is back on the rear bumper of Wayne Grassy. So that car still has some power in it. Granted, he's going to slip, slide, and throw the car in whatever crease there is on this track, trying to get back up towards Bryson. But I don't think anybody really has anything for Bryson today, as it's shown. Obviously, Cam Stone just came back out on the track, so it's going to be interesting to see if he blocks Bryson at all.
Yeah, at this point, we're just we're seeing if anything can happen to B Hicks, because if there's anyone that can do 367 laps at Darlington and keeping it off that wall and keeping it out of trouble, definitely Bryson Hixenbaugh. But we'll see. I mean, he has had some trouble in the past. He has had some trouble, while leading. But that's mostly in road courses. He doesn't.
John Delaney going around again. Looks like he is
Right.
going to keep it off of everything but the outside wall, and he is going to continue on here. That's got to be what, the 10th, 11th time, Andre, that we've seen him go around?
I mean, somewhere around there. Like I said, I can't actually really see the race. I'm still in line to buy his sheet metal. So I'm not entirely sure, but that sounds right to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say at least it's a long race, so we still got quite a bit to go. We'll see what the counter is at once this thing is over with. But it's been he's definitely made this race a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if interesting is necessarily the word, as trying to make this track outside wall green.
Hey, go ahead and take it on the
like green, like his car. Trying to paint that wall a little too much, as Wayne Grassy is within 3 seconds of Bryson Hixenbaugh. Don't think we've said that too much tonight, Andre. Anybody within 3 seconds of Bryson. And as I say that, Jonathan Delaney in the wall once again for the 50th time today.
So it sounds like on the radio chatter there might be something between Hixenbaugh and Coaster Ellis. I think Coaster Ellis actually got around Hixenbaugh from what I thought I heard. Maybe not.
John Delaney's around again.
And Delaney, John, buddy. What are you doing, John?
You gotta question if you maybe think about just parking it. I mean, there's some money on the line, but there's not a lot of positions you can lose.
He
goes around. I don't know what's going on there, man, but he's just making unnecessary moves. I don't know if I'd have to look at the replay, but
it looks like Chad had some payback in mind there. Don't know what necessarily happened between the two of them.
Yeah, Chad definitely moved up.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's understandable. There's six guys on track, and maybe like 5 of them are most likely not happy with Delaney. So a lot of payback coming his way for sure. This is not the first time we've seen it.
Absolutely not. And as you were saying earlier, that you believe there's something between Bryson and Jimmy. That was actually, he was letting Wayne Grassy by. Let Wayne try to track down Bryson Hixenbaugh. The gap's closed down to about 1 3/4 here towards the end of this race. And John's in the wall again. Chad's in the back of him. And you got to think that this is starting to get out of hand, and hopefully that somebody gets parked here before somebody gets hurt.
Is again, you guys were more involved in the organization of this event than I was. Is there an incident cap?
There was not, because you get drivers like me who hit 48 incident points in a race here. You got to think John's got to be closing in on that 100 mark.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, his incident count is getting close to what I'm about to pay for the sheet metal that he's selling. So it's getting up there. But I don't think this battle's done between Chad and Delaney either. They didn't really get separated in that incident. It's like they've gotten together twice.
Chad's sending it.
Oh, there comes Chad on the bottom. He's loose. Side by side.
He sent it in there. He's definitely trying to get to his bumper.
I think Chad's starting to get just fed up with how Jonathan Delaney's racing and hoping to end his day.
I mean, that's completely understandable to be honest with you.
Yeah, and just as we say that, it looks like Bryson's kind of opened the gap back up on Wayne here. But you got to think that he doesn't want to get anywhere close to this battle between Chad and Jonathan Delaney.
Yeah, it's going to be something. Chad is kind of getting into the wall. He's overdriving a little bit, trying to get back to Delaney. I think there's some payback in mind, but we're just going to have to see if he can get there in one piece to even exact the revenge that he seems to be seeking.
Yeah.
He's getting there.
Oh, and somebody else is in the wall.
Oh,
Cameron
it's
Stone.
Cam. He's going
Oh,
around,
oh.
but he keeps it straight.
Oh,
And
oh! Jonathan Delaney is
Delaney.
around. Oh, he hits the wall hard. And so
Yeah.
far, no caution.
All right, man.
And there is the caution for Jonathan Delaney.
He towed back to pit lane, but it seemed like he just got loose. I'm not sure if what happened in front of him with Cam affected him, but he was entered the corner a little too hot, and just got loose. And Chad, him being upset, just did not slow down at all and just finished him off there because, yeah, Delaney was already sideways before Chad got to him, and Chad just wanted to help him out a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got to wonder if that's the end of John's day here. With all that
Well, he did
damage.
take a tow, so even if he comes back out on track, taking the tow is going to be probably 2 to 3 laps worth of time under yellow. We're just going to have to see what happens there. I would imagine his day is probably done at that point. I think he's probably going to keep it in the pit lane. But I tell you what, Alonso is currently doing some reconnaissance. He's down in pit road talking to these drivers, seeing what their thoughts are. And while everybody comes down pit road, we'll leave the action up on your screen. But we're going to throw it to commercial for just a quick moment, and we will be back before the green.
Sounds good. I'll click the buttons.
We're ready.
All right, and we are back from commercial break. Some interesting developments in a group I'm in. As you may remember, Andre brought up my Snapchats from what was that, Martinsville, where I kept saying it. Well, Chad has been saying that he is not happy with Jonathan Delaney, and that there may be some payback upcoming. We'll have to wait and see what happens there, as the lights are off. We'll get back with what you heard on Pit Road, Alonzo, here shortly. But the lights are off, and we're going to go back racing here.
Yeah, so whenever you're ready, we can talk about what they were saying on pit road. It's quite the scene down there.
Whoa,
Absolutely.
looks like here
Green,
comes
green.
Jimmy Costarellos and Chad Edwards. Really sending on that restart on the high line. You can see he's getting around the 88 machine. But Chad, as we know, he pretty much vowed to wreck Jonathan Delaney. Well, you can't wreck him if you're in front of him, so I'm going to be curious to see how he's going to
and
handle
Cameron
this. And there he
Stone-
goes.
Oh, and that may be the end of Cameron Stone and Jonathan Delaney's day there. No, looks like they're both going to get refired. Definitely something. You would have to think something's going to happen here shortly, whether somebody kicks somebody out of this race, because this is starting to get unwatchable. Wouldn't you agree with that, Andre?
You know, we said at the start of the race, these cars are they're durable, and I never thought I'd say it. I think they might be too durable.
And there's Jimmy Costarellos
All right,
around,
man.
and another yellow has
Caution
come
is
out. Oh boy, definitely
Yeah.
something. We won't send you back down there, Alonzo, for this. Oh, and he almost comes back up the track in front of Cameron Stone.
I'll tell you what, Alonzo, let's do a job swap on the fly. You stay here with Cody. I'm going to jump up and see what they're saying in pit road.
I don't know if we're the
Alright.
last
I'll be
two
back in a
sane
moment.
ones left lane,
Alright.
or the only
Yeah,
two insane ones.
So last time I was down there, Chad pretty much said that he was gonna wreck Delaney because he was holding him up. He had just pitted, and Delaney was just holding him up. So
What the
he
hell
was
was
gonna wreck
that?
him until he wrecked himself. And then just
That was,
people are
me
just
not paying attention.
not happy with him at all.
That-
And we
I had
got an
zero
exact
wreck.
number of how many incident points he has, which is 55. Well, that was, I mean,
My apologies.
the last caution, so I'm sure he has a few more now. But just
I'll give it to you if I.
interesting night.
Absolutely. So you would have to imagine that with 118 to go, that things are definitely going to be changing here. Where it looks like Wayne Grassi is going to pit for some tires. Hopefully get some run on Bryson Hixenbaugh here. You have to think Jimmy Costarellos is now out of this race with that blown engine.
Yeah.
Going to be honest, don't know what we're going to talk about for the next 118 laps with all these changes going on, but this race has changed dramatically.
Oh, even just more. I don't know what's going on, but just a lot of goofing around. It seems like, but just more damage being taken here. Looks like Delaney got into Chad, and then Cameron coming with a head of steam.
Oh boy, this race has turned into something. And I think it's time that we get Jonathan Delaney out.
Oh, there's. I mean, this is really uncalled for and highly unprofessional.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely, which is unfortunate. So, think it's time that Andre came back up in the booth. Andre, what did they have to say down there?
So VX was saying that at this point, I think Delaney's hit cars in Charlotte. Cameron Stone said that he's just trying to put on a show. And Chad Edwards accidentally rear-ended Wayne Grassi under caution. They laughed about that for a minute before some black flags were cleared, and that's about all that happened.
Oh, and that's very unfortunate for Wayne, because it sounded like that he had 0x up to that point. And don't forget, there is an award for the most person with the limited X's, and I think Bryson Hixenbaugh and Wayne Grassi are the only two left. I mean, I don't think that's really a question. So Bryson did say that he will give it to Wayne, because that was completely Chad's fault.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a situation where Chad just wasn't really he said himself in the Discord he just wasn't really paying attention. And that's one of the things you got to think about in these races where there's so many cars out of the race. Things have just kind of been routine for so long, just making laps. You kind of have those lapses in concentration. You do lose your focus over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's been such a long race that, not that many cars, not a lot of things going around you. If you're someone like Chad, I mean, he has gone into some incidents here and there, but, I mean, just right around this long, your mind can space out, and it can be kind of hard to keep your concentration, like Andre was saying.
Yeah, this race has been going on so long that by the time it's over, Cyberpunk might actually be a playable game.
Who would have thought? If that happens, then maybe we can thank John for some of his antics.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of thanking him right now in that Discord. Surprised he is still even in this race with all the incidents he has caused. Oh, and it looks like there was some on-race antics between the two of them. Chad flipped over.
Oh!
Yeah, definitely something in the water here today, which is very unfortunate. Once this race does go back green, we did have to cut our last little caution period or break period short, and the two cars that are remaining with no damage are back green.
Alonzo, remember what you said about I'd be lucky to get a roof?
Yeah.
Well, there it went.
I told you.
Oh, Jesus. This is quite the event we got going on. Bryson Hixenbaugh out to a 1.6 second lead within half a lap. Second place, 1.4 seconds back. Third place, 4 laps down. That you guys ever watch Cars? And
yes.
They tie in a 3-way, so then they just send those 3 cars to Auto Club for the final race. Like, the other guys don't even race. It's just those 3 guys.
Uh-huh.
This is that, but worse.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely worse.
And as we're talking, before we go back to a little caution period here, it looks like that these two drivers are closing back in on each other. So let's just stay here because I'm sure this is going to end well.
By God, that's Chad Edwards' music. He's entering the ring.
Oh, and to the back.
Here he comes!
Oh, and Chad Edwards is around. And it looks like he is going to stop and get it refired. And, alrighty. I apologize to the viewers at home that this has turned into this. This is not very well. Guys, why don't you say we hop down into the Discord real quick and just get their driver opinions real quick. Because, this is definitely something interesting. What do you say to that real quick before we go to commercial break?
Why not?
Let's do it.
We got nothing else to lose.
Yes, get him, Wayne.
Oh.
What happened? What did I miss?
I just got loose.
Oh,
Hey, guys.
hi.
What's up, man?
And as we get into the
Hey,
Discord,
Cody.
Okay.
So we're still live. This is the booth moving down into the passenger side of the car for all these guys.
Goody good.
and John, so it looks like that you've hit everything but the freaking pace car out here today.
I've hit the
He's
pace
hit that.
car.
He has hit
Only
that
reason
multiple
he
times.
didn't hit the pace car is because you can just drive through
The
it. It's a
only-
go-
No, he still hit it anyways.
All
The
right.
only thing I haven't hit was the pit road cone. Only thing I haven't hit yet.
It looks like you're well on your way to that. Andre, have anything else?
That's my
to add?
next goal.
I just want to ask, Delaney, we were talking about in the booth, I was going to buy some of the sheet metal from your car after the race, and Alonzo said, well, you'd be lucky to get a roof by the time it's over. And then you flipped over. Is your roof intact, and can you sign it for me? That's my question.
Oh, I certainly need
Oh.
All right.
Oh man, I think I just got a speeding pit.
All right, we're gonna go back up here into the booth while you guys finish up your race. Good luck to everybody. And
I gotta ask, did you guys see the pass for the lead while you were doing all that, or did you miss it?
absolutely not. We missed that. All right, we are back up in the booth because their laughter is really annoying. And yeah, we missed the pass for the lead. You know, only pass for the lead today. As Wayne Grassy is now in the lead over Bryson Hixenbaugh.
One pass. It's been 2.5 hours. There's been one pass and we missed it.
That's
the way
great.
this race
I
has
had
gone.
no idea there was even a pass for a lead with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm crying.
We are so sorry for that unprofessionalism there. And just as we mentioned that we missed the one pass for the lead, Bryson Hixenbaugh has closed the gap back up to Wayne Grassy. So you have to imagine that this is about to get fierce, and we actually may get some action here, Andre.
Indeed, we might. Cody, if you don't mind pulling your broadcast back up on Discord, by the way. Yeah, so Wayne Grassy has inherited the lead somehow. We're not entirely sure how, but it happened. He's got a 1.08 second lead. And the car's still looking pretty good. He got most of that damage repaired. Remember, he did get rear-ended under caution.
And we're back, guys. And Chad Edwards has hit the wall again. And looks like he is going to keep it low to let them by. Yeah, so really didn't miss much. This race has just turned into... how many times can John Delaney piss somebody off?
I mean, if saying to go by a lot. But regardless, Bryson is still closing that gap. I said it was like 1.08 seconds, plus down to 0.77. So Hixenbaugh is he's closing and definitely going to have the pace. He's got plenty of time to do it. 105 to go at the stripe. Just gonna have to watch.
Can't happen soon enough.
And why don't you say we go to a quick commercial break here, guys? Let us regain our composure. Actually, you know what? Let's stay on here because
Wayne, I'm gonna stay low here.
Bryson Hixenbaugh is closing in on Wayne Grassy, and I really don't want to miss another pass for the lead.
He is closing the gap. He's down to 0.6. That's Jonathan Delaney on the apron.
Oh my God!
I just had flashback.
Anytime Delaney gets close to a car, I am scared for that man's life.
So even with that happening, Bryson really didn't lose much time. 0.6 seconds still. Wayne Grassy has a lot of pace. I mean, Bryson, he's closing the gap slowly, but it's not like he's closing in 2-3 tenths of a second per lap. So I think this is where that clean car and preserved tires that Wayne Grassy has kind of managed to attain throughout this race is really starting to work out in his benefit.
Absolutely, and we still have at least one more pit stop. I think that's all that's going to remain, of course, unless there is more cautions. With Jonathan Delaney still in this field, I full-heartedly expect at least 4 more cautions. So that's some more tires. Tire bill's going to start getting expensive here. Rubber's starting to build up on these cars as Bryson Hixenbaugh closes in on the back bumper of Wayne Grassy.
Down to 0.38 seconds as they round turns the 3 and 4, the sharper turns. And getting onto the straightaway, Bryson got a pretty good run, but Wayne got a better one. He actually extended the gap back up to 0.4. It seems like Bryson's running slightly different lines. What I can see is that Bryson is diving it in on entry a little bit deeper, then Wayne gets slightly better runs out of the corner. But the speed that Bryson's gaining on entry is definitely outweighing whatever Wayne's gaining on the exit because he is closing that gap quite quickly now.
And just as we say that, it looks like Chad Edwards is closing in on Jonathan Delaney, but let's keep it here because we know what to expect with that. Don't know what's fully going to happen here as it looks like Wayne tapped the wall a little there going into that corner, Andre.
Yeah, he might have got into the wall just a little bit there. Bryson, he was up on the top line, now he dove down, and he is right there on the bumper.
Chad just dumped Delaney, and they're both around. That's probably going to be another caution. Delaney blew up. He might be done, finally.
All right, man. Caution.
That is
He's
another
still
caution.
my
And there is the caution for the incident between Jonathan Delaney and Chad Edwards. And it looks like Jonathan Delaney's day may be done finally. Yeah. There may be some talking to in the hauler after this as both Chad and John look to have blown up. Neither car is going to be worth bringing back to Charlotte. And I expect Delaney's day to be done here.
Yeah, a lot of smoke coming out of the engine bay of that car, and I don't really see him getting back on track. Chad's car is actually looking somewhat decent for the impact that it took. I say decent, but I mean, that's decent by this race's standards.
Absolutely. So currently, with how this race has gone, we do have that $10 to award to one of these drivers. Who do you think currently is the driver of the day for us up here? If I had to choose, Wayne Grassy currently has been the driver that has impressed me the most, other than Bryson
Yeah,
Hixenbaugh.
he was gonna be my choice too. Honestly, yeah, I mean, I did say it wouldn't go to the winner, but I mean, the only driver here, the only drivers left with I think some dignity are Wayne Grassy and Bryson Hixenbaugh. But I mean, who knows? Maybe that can change too.
Absolutely. So as we get, looks like we're about back under caution here, uh, lining up behind the pace car. John Delaney is still out there, and they're still wrecking each other. And I'm going to go away from that because this is not appropriate.
No. You put the camera back on that, Cody. This is no longer a NASCAR stream. This is WWE right now. Here he goes in reverse. That's John Delaney's music. Enter in the ring in reverse.
All right. Well, I don't think we're going to be welcome back for a stream after this, but yeah. So I think it's time they park John Delaney.
I don't see a thing wrong with what John's doing right now. That's fine to me. Listen, he blew up his engine. He probably lost first and second gear. What do you want him to do? He's got a gear that works. It's called reverse gear.
As he is still behind the pace car. Yeah, this has kind of lost all professional value. Wouldn't you agree with it, Andre?
It's lost a lot of things.
It might be a little embarrassing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what? You can't look at it that way. I mean, listen, and no disrespect, but the race we've been given, you got to do something to make it fun, and that's what we've done. So.
Yeah, and just so it's known, this currently does not have any reflection on the 100% Cup Series that will be running in the winter and.
Absolutely.
No.
This is an off-season event hosted by Bryson Hixenbaugh. It was meant to be fun. No points are on the line. These guys, as you could tell when we jumped into their driver chat, you could tell they're just having a good time. They're not. We're kind of playing up the rivalries and stuff in the booth here because that's kind of our job. But they're having a good time. They were laughing and stuff up there, and it's just kind of one of those off-season events. Sort of like compare this to Week 13 in regular iRacing.
Yeah, so we just wanted to make sure it was clear that this is no reflection on the professionalism of the 100% Cup Series. Anyway, back to the racing action. Jonathan Delaney has come down pit road after his backwards driving, and it looks like he is going to get his damage repaired.
All right, boys. We can make it to the finish clean.
And Bryson is hoping that they can make it to the checkered flag green.
Yeah.
As Cameron Stone chirps in, and John Delaney is just going to drive through pit road and not stop for any repair. Oh, maybe? I don't know. He's waiting on track for somebody. Anyway, continuing on, let's go back to the two drivers that actually matter in this race right now. So we continue on.
So the lights are they're off. Are they off? I can't quite tell.
Yeah, they're off.
The lights are off in the pace car. And hey, that's Chad Edwards. Chad Edwards' music's playing. He's going to rejoin. He's currently 9 laps down. Yes. But he will be third in line. He will be fourth in line behind John because John is out on track. He is bellowing smoke like a chimney. But I guess he's going to try to stay out on track. We'll see. But the pace car makes that hard left turn. There goes Wayne Grassy. He's getting on the loud pedal. Gets a pretty good gap. It's about 7 car lengths back to B-Hix. 1.11 seconds right out the gate. Phenomenal start for the 7 car.
Absolutely, and Bryson keeps up close to him on this restart, and it looks like everybody made it past John Delaney without any incident. So good job to everybody to miss a car down 500 horsepower. As we continue on, it looks like Wayne has jumped out to about a second lead on second place Bryson Hixenbaugh.
Yeah, I don't know how you do all that while you're driving. Wow.
Not sure quite what Wayne was talking about there.
Oh,
I think
a lot of black flags.
Keys. Yeah, clearing black flags with the hotkeys and such. So Bryson now 0.6 seconds back again. He's slowly closing the gap. He's probably hoping that this stays green. I think we're all hoping it stays green, praying that it stays green. But he is kind of more of a long run car, I would say. It seemed like throughout the night, because there were times where Jonathan Delaney and a few of the other drivers were able to kind of close the gap. Coaster Ellis even closed the gap quite a bit earlier on one of the
You're gonna have to call
restarts.
this for
But then
darkness.
as it goes on, Bryson seems to gain a little bit of pace. And you could see the last run there, after Wayne had originally gotten around Bryson, Bryson kind of fell back for a few laps, and then he got back on it and he was closing in again. So bit of a long run setup, perhaps, and he's hoping it stays green.
Absolutely. Why don't you say, while we got this little gap in time, with the gap about 3/4 of a second, we take a quick commercial break here. You guys won't miss any of the action as we catch our breaths here up in the booth.
Absolutely.
All right, and we are back green as it looks like Bryson Hixenbaugh is putting a pass on Wayne Grassy here, going down the backstretch. And it looks like he's going to clear him pretty easy and come back out front. Andre, looks like the battle, we finally found a battle for the lead here and caught it on camera.
We actually did get the pass this time, but we got a driver in the infield care center. He's with Alonso. John Delaney, controversial driver of the race award winner, I believe. He's down there with Alonso.
Hey John, how you doing?
How we doing?
So I only have one question for you, really, and that question is, why?
I'm gonna blame it all on the car and the terrible setup Bryson has provided us.
All right, thank you. That's all the questions I have. Cody?
Now John,
Or
here's my question to you. The same setup that you had, Bryson has right now, and he's currently out to about a half a second lead here on Wayne Grassy. So are you sure it wasn't the thing in between the steering wheel? And
No, because Bryson, he's just built different. You know what I'm saying?
He is an alien. He is an alien. You can't compare the normal folk to Bryson because it's just not. It's just not even close, But I do have a question to add to your interview, John. You never did answer me. Is your roof intact, and can you sign it? I need to know.
Oh, I'm not too sure about the roof thing. It seems like it is scraped up a bit. And if you would like it signed, I will send it.
All right, perfect deal. I've been waiting in line at the sheet metal shop. I got the tent set up.
Yeah.
First one in line. Biggest fan.
Yep.
That was John Delaney with his infield care. I do have a legitimate question. Getting away from the memes and the jokes. What exactly is it like to wheel the car around this track? Because you're not the only one that was having issues. We've seen cars get sideways and get really weightless coming out of the corners. What exactly is it about the setup that's being such a challenge for these guys?
It's totally different from a cup car, and a lot of these guys are very familiar with how cup cars drive. And these cars they're totally different. Their whole entire aero is different. How they interact with the tracks totally different. It's a different tire you got to try and drive. It's just they're two very different cars to drive, and I don't think a lot of guys got very much practice in, including me. Only got about 30 laps in practice, probably as it showed. But yeah, it's just two totally different cars that I think everyone was just struggling with. So yeah.
Absolutely makes sense, and again, it seems like a lot of drivers have struggled with this setup. But we thank you for your interview, John. We're sorry your race went the way it went, and we wish you the best of luck in the coming IROC races and whatnot in the future here.
Yeah. All I want to say is I got 15 minutes of required left. If the race is still going on by then, we're coming back out. Just let you know.
All right, the return of John.
Heard it here first.
And then Cody boots him back to the other Discord mid-sentence. All right, well.
I didn't want him to say something that was, again, going to make me lose money and get anything demonetized. Because, YouTube loves that demonetize button.
They do.
Anyway, as we continue on, Bryson Hixenbaugh has opened a second and a quarter lead. And he looks, even though he lost that lead for a couple laps, it looks like he is firmly in control of this race again.
All right. It does appear that Wayne Grassy is kind of keeping pace. He has dropped back a little bit. It's about a second gap now. But compared to the closing rate we saw before, earlier on in the run, with drivers like Jonathan Delaney and Jimmy Costrellis just kind of dropping back a little bit more rapidly, Wayne Grassy was able to not only hold off BX for a while, but now that Bryson's got around him, he's kind of able to keep pace at least a little bit. Although the gap did extend quite a bit in that corner. I don't know if Wayne got a little bit loose there, but he lost a couple tenths right in one corner. But yeah, two cars that are kind of fairly equal, it looks like. Maybe Bryson's got the edge a little bit, but they just got to ride it out.
Absolutely. And as we continue on, currently only 4 cars on track right now. Currently we have Bryson Hixenbaugh as he gets into the wall. We just saw Bryson Hixenbaugh make a mistake, which was not expected. So he hit the wall. Wayne didn't really gain much on him there, but that's the first time we've seen Bryson Hixenbaugh make an error.
Well, the madness is starting to set in. These guys have been driving these cars for upwards of 3 hours now, and with really not a whole lot going on around them. Like I said, you lose your focus so easily in these situations, and your mind starts to wander. You think about all kinds of things. You think about what you ate for breakfast, or you think about your phone bill that's due, and then the next thing you know, you got a wall creeping up on you. And it sounds crazy to think if you never really like played a racing simulator or a racing game or raced in real life, but it really can happen when you start making laps like these. And it's not just races where you have so few cars like this. It can happen in any race that goes on for a certain amount of time. It really is an endurance challenge, not only to your body but also to your mind.
Absolutely. Alonso, have we heard anything about pit strategy here coming towards the end of this race? When people may be thinking of pitting and whatnot?
Well, it looks like I know for a fact BX was trying to make this a one-stop strategy. Um, I mean, there isn't really anyone else that can catch him besides Wayne. I don't think there's any much different that we can do, but we'll see if they risk you know, getting their tires blown out, or they play it safe and make the early stop. Should be coming up soon though.
Absolutely. Currently, they're on 28 old lap tires, and something else to consider here. Chad Edwards is now on the podium for this finish. And Cam Stone is closing in on the laps of Jonathan Delaney. So Jonathan Delaney can go from finishing second for $25 to finishing fourth real quickly, or fifth real quickly. And who knows what may happen at that point.
Well, and we know John needs those monies to repair the car because it is taking quite a beating tonight. So we're gonna have to see what he can try to do to defend that position. He did say he had about 15 minutes of optional or required repairs, I should say, and then he was coming back out. Whether or not Cameron Stone can make up that many laps in 15 minutes, it's going to be close, I think. But we're going to have to see. And Chad Edwards, obviously, I think Chad is pretty securely in third at this point. I don't think, unless he were to wreck out completely, I don't think he's going to lose that position. Just as I think Bryson and Wayne are pretty much locked into their positions, unless Wayne maybe pulls a rabbit out of his hat and has something up his sleeve, which he might. His pace, it seemed like he had the pace to stay with Bryson. And then once Bryson started pulling away, it almost seems like Wayne said, okay, he's a little bit faster. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start saving. That's what I think, because the gap has grown immensely in just the last few laps compared to it staying within 1 second for almost 10 entire laps. I don't know if that's the strategy call he's going for or what, but if I was a betting man, I'd say maybe he's conserving it and maybe trying to play it on strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be interesting as we come down to the finish of this race with 69 laps to go. So, big milestone here in the race. Very nice. And we're going to continue here from Darlington Speedway, where Bryson Hixenbaugh has opened up a 3-second lead on Wayne Grassi. Tires are starting to come into play. Wouldn't you agree, Andre?
Oh, the tires will definitely be coming into play, and I think that might be part of the reason we saw Bryson hit the wall earlier. Not only just having a lapse in concentration, but also having that lapse in concentration while also being caught off guard by your tire wear. Because I know with this tire model specifically, because I heard that they reverted to the original tire model for these 87 cars. The fall off is sudden, and it is extreme. You can go lap after lap and not really feel much fall off, but then when it does hit, it hits like a truck. So that could definitely be. And it looks like Chad Edwards is going to be diving down to the bottom, letting the leader go, no problem. Friend, that machine is so beat up. I cannot believe he's able to maintain the top speed that he does.
And he is in third place, which that is even more impressive. I mean, granted, looking at the cars behind him, don't know if they're much more of lookers that you may find out there. But definitely something interesting. And Bryson Hixenbaugh still showing that he's loose going into these corners. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep it this way for the rest of the race. continue on, currently there's been 7 cautions in this race, as it sounds like Chad had just hit the wall again, and Wayne Grassy closing in on the back of him, and currently opened back up to a 4-second lead on Wayne Grassy here with 65 to go. Alonzo, what lap do you think we're going to start seeing pitch strategy calls?
I think. Let me see. How many laps have they run on?
So currently they're on 35 old lap tires. I'm thinking more 50 to go. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 50 to go sounds about right. You might have Wayne try to play it a little safe and try to make up some time, but B Hicks, with his classic calculated moves, I think would be around that number where he would pit.
Absolutely. So as we come down to the end of this race, there are 4 cars still running out on track. We got Bryson Hixenbaugh in the lead, Wayne Grassy second, Chad Edwards third, and Cameron Stone currently in 5th place, who is only now 12 laps behind Jonathan Delaney for that 4th spot. Andre, what are you looking forward towards the end of this race?
I'm looking for somebody to make a mistake that's kind of unexpected. I would not be surprised if B Hicks or Wayne, the 2 cars that are really left competing, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them made a mistake, just due to the sheer endurance factor of this and how long they've been going. We already saw Bryson get into the wall once, and but these cars, when they snap around, they really snap. So I'm curious to see if these guys can bring it home clean to the end.
Absolutely. Still single cars all the way around the track. Really no battles going on as we watch Bryson Hixenbaugh currently. So, guys, we're in the midpoint of the off season here for these guys. Obviously, with the 100% series coming up and Alonso potentially running in a different series. So, what do you guys think to expect now with these new tracks on the schedule for next year?
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be a learning curve. You go from, at least in a Cup Series, we're so used to, those classic 2 road courses that we go to each and every year, and it's always good racing, and people always, you leave wanting more going to Sonoma and Watkins Glen because it's just, such good racing, and this past year with the whole pandemic happening, we were able to see some other kind of tracks used, like the Daytona Road Course, and as well as the new Roval configuration, which wasn't new this year, but it's still relatively new. We've seen like this movement of NASCAR going to a whole lot of new road courses, and I believe the number for this next year is 7. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they're going to 7 road courses this year. So it's definitely something new. It's gonna take a lot of practice, especially for guys like me who don't really run road course racing that often. I mean, it's not my forte. There's some tracks that I do like more than others. Like for me, I'm a big fan of Lime Rock, especially in those Mazdas. I love running the MX-5s at Lime Rock anytime they go there. But besides that, there's not a lot of races I run on road. So it's gonna be a big learning curve, especially now that it's not just 2 times we go a year. It's gonna be 7, and that's quite a bigger fraction of or percentage of the schedule now. So we're gonna have to adapt, and it's gonna take a little bit more skill.
Absolutely. Andre, I'm guessing you're looking forward to this upcoming season again, and everything that 100% will have to offer.
Oh yeah, I'll be having the pleasure of broadcasting select races with them. 3Wide TV, Carlos Acosta, Kenneth Bueno, they're teaming up again this season, just like we did last season, and we're going to be in the booth for, I believe, actually I'm not sure if I'm at the ability to disclose which races, but we will be broadcasting select races, and that's always a good time. I always have fun with those guys in the booth, and the races those guys put on is absolutely fantastic. And like Alonzo said, a lot more road courses. So that is, to me, some of my favorite racing. I love watching road courses. I I love racing road courses and video games and in simulators and things like that, even if I'm not too good at them. So I'm excited to watch what these guys do with road courses, and I think it's going to force them to adapt. Right now, I would say John Delaney is the road course ringer. He's the one who you kind of look to when you go to road courses because you know he's always going to be good. But with road courses consisting of 7 races in the schedule, I think the rest of the field is going to have to put in the time, practice, work on the road courses, and try to catch up to them because otherwise their point situation is going to be at a deficit just by default. So it'll be fun to see if these guys can really work towards those road courses and adapt and see who's competing for it at the end.
Absolutely. I mean, I know me personally looking forward to being back with 100% Cup Series here in this coming year and everything they have to offer. Getting a lot of experience last year and coming back and racing with them once again is definitely something worth getting excited about. Finishing top 12 or making the round of 12 last year was definitely an accomplishment, and hopefully we can improve on that this year. As we currently look, looks like Bryson's opened up about a 6-second lead here. Andre, you have to think that coming soon we may start seeing Wayne think about pitting and trying to gain some time on Bryson and hope for a caution.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really outside of a caution, which I don't think is too likely when you only have 4 cars on the track. I think that's going to be his best bet, would be to try and maybe short pit, get those fresh tires, make that time up that way. That's a definite strategy that he could pull. Other than that, again, I think Bryson's sort of in that position where he has the leisure of choosing when he wants to pit, and it doesn't really matter which strategy he goes for because either way, he's got about a 7-second lead right now to play with.
Absolutely. As we close in on the end of this race, something to keep in mind, Cameron Stone is only 2 laps away from overtaking 4th place John Delaney. So John better hope that he gets some of his damage here repaired quickly, or else he's going to fall down to 5th in the running order.
I would imagine he's going to get back out on track pretty soon. He said 15 minutes of repairs, and that was roughly 15 minutes ago. So we're going to have to see if he gets back out on track, what position he can maintain, and exactly where he's going to cycle out.
Absolutely. And as we cross the line here, it looks like Cameron Stone is battling with Jimmy Costarelos. This is the only battle on track for anywhere on track with any cars. So why don't we just stay trained on this for a little bit? And as we cross the line here, it looks like Cameron Stone is going to overtake 4th position from Jonathan Delaney. So that's some more money in Cameron Stone's pocket. And you know him, he loves taking Bryson Hixenbaugh's money.
Absolutely, but is he going to be able to keep the position? He's going to slide down in front of Costarelos just barely. And Costarelos now right on his bumper. Almost looked like he was going to give him a shot there, but he didn't quite get there. These guys are still going to battle it out. We do have a car down pit road. That is Wayne Grassy. So it looks like he is. Oh, there goes Cameron Stone. He is hard into the inside wall. No caution yet. He's just sitting on the straightaways. We got another car coming. That's the leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Cameron Stone was trying to keep it clean and green for these guys to let them battle it out on track. And as we see Wayne Grassy on pit road, Alonso got some 4 tires here again.
Oh yeah, definitely 4 tires here. I mean, there's no real other choice here. You want to take these 4 tires any chance you get.
Absolutely, and we're back out onto track with Wayne Grassy as Bryson Hixenbaugh comes down in pit. So Wayne can't get any big of a undercut on Bryson Hixenbaugh.
That does throw a wrench in Wayne's plans a little bit. If Bryson had stayed out another 2 or 3 laps, he might have been able to catch up to him and close that gap. But with Bryson immediately pitting the next time around, it's going to really minimize the damage done by the short pit strategy that Wayne pulled. So I would say Bryson learned from last time. He stayed out a really long time last time, and he had a big lead to work with. But I think if he had done the same thing here, that could have spelled disaster.
Absolutely, and we're under 48 to go here. Guess we can all say a little. We're counting down the laps to the end of this one with only 5 cars left down on track. The temperature has dropped about 12 degrees since the start of this race, so the track has cooled off a lot, and hopefully it shows because these guys look like they're getting a little more grip other than Cam. It looks like he ran out a bit of talent there, as they all say. And Jonathan Delaney has come back out onto track.
That could be interesting if John can get back out in front of Cam by some chance. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think he's going to be able to pull that off. 43 laps to 48 laps. And John's back out on track. But we might as well just consider him on track in spirit, because that car, I don't think it's going anywhere.
Absolutely not. And as we go back to the leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh does keep the lead on Wayne Grassy here. About a 20-second lead is currently showing on Wayne Grassy. And it just adjusted 10 seconds. Currently, right around the pace that it was before they decided to come down pit road.
So everything remaining mostly stagnant, not too much going on, but we're going to take a short break, leave the action up on your screen now that pit site sequences have happened, and we will return momentarily.
All right, and we are back here at Darlington Speedway. Andre, we got to be kind of hoping here. We get towards the end. I'm guessing we booked.
Yo, broadcast, can we just make sure that I get the spark plug award?
Anyway,
I put you on your roof. You ain't getting shit.
all
That
right.
was the most exciting thing that happened to this race.
Yes, and as they talk, okay, I'm going to figure out how to mute the chat because they're very distracting.
Yeah, it's all right. Anywho, so while we were at commercial, Bryson did get into the wall a little bit. He slid up into the top line, and there goes Costrellis. He had some issues before. Probably flat spotted his tires, I would say, because then he had another issue right there. Spun it a second time. Well, that's not the second time he spun, but I mean, relatively speaking, the last time. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of minor things here and there has been going on. Not too much action overall. The gap to Wayne Grassy pretty much remaining at about 12 seconds. It was 10 seconds for a while. Wayne Grassy fell back to about 12 seconds, and that's kind of where it stayed for the last few laps. Chad Edwards third, 11 laps down. Cameron Stone fourth, 45 laps down. Jonathan Delaney fifth, 49 laps down. Kevin Steele's out of the race in sixth. Jimmy Costrellos is in seventh, 150 laps down. Mason Lowry is out of the race, and Bryce Hoffman is out of the race as well. That's your current running order with 32 to go. And Cody, I got a question for you, and I gotta ask you. So everybody's pitted. They got their tires. They got their fuel. They should be good to the end with where they pitted, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So the tires should last them for the rest of this race. Unfortunately, we still have this unknown as he comes up on our screen. Jonathan Delaney. Somehow his car is still running. Don't know how. It's very impressive. Don't think that car is going to be winning any awards here tonight. But hey, you never know. That car could end up in Dale Jr.'s graveyard when we get back to 2020, which we may be better off just living in 1987 for the rest. Wouldn't you say so, Andre?
Well, I mean, if we got to pick between everything that's happened in 2020 and Delaney's 1987 driving,
ooh,
that's tough.
It's a coin. It's a coin toss. It's a coin toss.
Yeah. If we go back to 2020, he doesn't even have his driver's license yet. So it may be worth it just to go back to 2020. So, yeah, I'm ready to get back in the time travel machine, as it looks like Cameron Stone, Chad Edwards, and Jimmy Costrellos are all around each other, about 5 seconds in front of the leader. Bryson's kind of hoping they figure this shit out. Oh, excuse my language.
Well, at this point,
just hoping they figure this out before he gets to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure anybody's figured much out this race, to be honest, Cody. But he is hoping that they get this sorted out, and that they don't do that. That they don't do that. That's what he's hoping for, is that they don't door each other down the straightaway. But yet,
no.
Okay.
And Bryson Hixenbaugh has closed in on this group. Really haven't focused on him too much. Probably led over 300 laps currently. Probably one of the most dominant Darlington races I've ever seen from him, even though he has not lapped the entire field yet.
Yeah, this is definitely a dominating performance. Not that many cars left out here. Really, all you got to do, it seems like, is try to have a clean car and not make people mad, and try to stay away from Jonathan Delaney, which the only two people who have been managing to do that are Bryson Hixenbaugh and Wayne Grassy. So, not coincidentally, I think they're running 1 and 2.
Oh, and unfortunately, I showed the Xbox Series X that I was looking at buying. I don't know why. But anyway, as we get back here, something else to keep in mind is that Bryson Hixenbaugh has closed back in on the back of Cameron Stone. Really don't think it's going to be much of a problem here for Bryson.
I don't have that much faith. I think this is going to be a big problem for Bryson. I don't think Cam's going to let him go easy. Bryson's going to get out on the bottom lane. I think Cam's damage is just holding him back on the straightaways, but he's going to send it on the outside. Oh, yeah, he's not letting Bryson have this that easy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. They're still battling.
This might...
And,
thankfully... Oh, no!
Oh, Cam.
Oh, no!
And Bryson Hixenbaugh has made it through without some questionable driving from Cameron Stone, and it looks like Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to close in on the back of Jonathan Delaney again here with 25 to go.
Things go from chaotic to more chaotic for Bryson. He gets around them, and now he's got to close in on Delaney and try to get around that 88 machine. Really, that is the only obstacle for Bryson at this point. Wayne Grassy 13.5 seconds back there in turns 1 and 2.
Thankfully, I think he does have the straightaway speed to get around him quickly.
Oh, and John Delaney does let him by without almost dooring him first. As we close in with 24 to go. 24 to go here, guys. Most of our picks are still... Oh, and there goes John for a slide for the billionth time today. As we close in on the end, just some quick updates on our drivers. I believe they are all pretty much out. None of us really picked Bryson Hixenbaugh or Wayne Grassy, so that's bad for us. But then again, we did say none of us could pick Bryson because that was going to be the very obvious choice today, and it is showing. As we look at the battle between currently Jonathan Delaney and Cameron Stone, which that could be for some money if they get together.
Yeah, if Cam were to wreck out, that would increase Jonathan's finishing position, and a little shot to the rear bumper. And John's going to get back out front. Okay, Cam's on the apron. That's not a good sign, but they're going to continue to battle this out. Cam up on the high line. Now he's cutting low. Delaney with a block. Delaney's loose. Delaney's sliding. Cameron Stone is going to maneuver right back up in front of him. He's clear to go.
Yeah, and just as we said that, it looks like Jimmy Costarelis has closed back in on the back bumper of Bryson Hixenbaugh. Don't know if Bryson just got around him again, or if he has some late run speed here. Don't think he's going to close the 151 lap difference, but hey, you never know. I've seen weirder things happen, including that new car who is back down pit road. Looks like for some tires.
Interesting. Jonathan Delaney coming back down pit road. Potentially maybe putting some jet fuel in that car, maybe. Yeah, he's tried everything else, so maybe take the old MWR tactic, put some jet fuel in there. On your screen right now, Bryson Hixenbaugh, and I'll tell you what, Costarelis is impressing me. He is still keeping pace with the leader. Pretty much no problem, even though he has quite a bit more damage, I would say, in that number 4 machine.
Absolutely. As we close in here, 20 to go, Cameron Stone has come down pit road as well. Jonathan Delaney just drove through pit road with no real intention. Hopefully him and Chad can get this figured out, especially with Wayne Grassy right behind him. Hopefully they don't do anything to ruin anybody's race here.
Well, I'd say there's only about one person you could ruin the race for. So we're going to have to see if they manage to do that. But I don't think these two are going to get too close. I think the damage is going to keep them separated. As Chad goes low, he lets Wayne Grassy go, no problem. So Wayne Grassy is around the 97. Now we just got to get around Delaney as well, I believe. It's who it is up there.
Yes, it is. It's John Delaney up there in front of Wayne Grassy, who he's been more than willing to let people by who are battling for this lead. Nobody else, but just the people battling for this lead. And it looks like that Chad Edwards is currently on 77 lap old tires. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can go the rest of the way on this run.
I would say he's risking a blowout there. I mean, we saw Kevin Steele blow a tire earlier in the race, trying to push his tires about that far. So he's going to have to really limp that thing around if he doesn't want to bring it down pit road, that's for sure.
And we're going to stay on this race here because it looks like Chad and John are getting close to one another again. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as they get closer to one another. And if they're going to end up wrecking each other for the 10th time today.
Chad did make it quite a bit after Delaney and Kevin both had issues with their tires early on into the race. So I do believe if anyone can extend it as Chad gets into Delaney, if anyone can extend it, it's Chad. If he doesn't...
Oh.
I reckon now. More of the same. More of the same that you've seen all race. Just, I'm not quite sure how to describe it anymore at this point, but here we are.
Yes. And as we go back, we have 15 to go. Bryson Hixenbaugh out to a 16-second lead on his competitors. Cameron Stone is on fresh tires. We're going to be keeping our eye on this to see if his new tires cause any issues for the two of these guys. Jimmy Costarellis don't think is going to do anything to ruin Bryson's race. Just staying on the back bumper. Think Bryson's kind of saving his stuff here at the very end as we have 15 to go. As we cross.
Hey, look who's behind him though. You got Cameron Stone is the third car in line, and he's actually closing the gap a little bit here. And Costarellis isn't going to do anything to hinder Bryson's run, but I think we've seen multiple times throughout this race that maybe Cameron doesn't have those qualms. So if Cameron gets up there, this could get interesting.
Absolutely. And just in front of the leaders, we have Chad Edwards and Jonathan Delaney again. We're going to stay at trained here, though, because this is the leader with 14 to go, as Bryson currently out to a 17-second lead on Wayne Grassy.
All right, man.
Oh, and they wrecked each other with 13 to go. Wow.
We're wrecking for last.
Wow.
Wow. Can't believe they did it again.
I can.
Yeah, I can too. This race has lost all value to any resemblance of how they raced in 87. Oh, and Chad just straight up sent caution to the wind there. Right in front of the leaders. And we're back under caution here with 12 to go. Giving us a show at the very end between Bryson Hixenbaugh and Wayne Grassy. And John has another blown motor. Don't think he's going to be in that ride much longer. Mr.
Cody, we've been saying that for 250 laps.
Yes. As he blows by the pace car.
If he can stay on the track, he's going to find a way. Anywho, these guys are going to come down pit road. There's no way they're not going to pit at this point. They pretty much have to. It's 12 to go. There's no reason not to pit. I just want to reiterate, what Cody said earlier. This is a off-season event. This is just something that was organized for fun, and I think the original goal for this race was that it was meant to be something a little bit more serious. But ultimately, there was a bit of a low turnout, and a lot of the guys that ended up racing in this race, they know each other, they're friends, they goof around, and the atmosphere of the race just sort of changed dynamically with the circumstances surrounding it because of this low turnout, because of the sort of camaraderie, I guess you could say, between everybody who is in this race. And obviously the drivers are goofing around. This is not how they would race in an official race. This isn't how they would race in a league race. This is not even how they would race in IROC, where there's points on the line. This is just something they're doing for fun at this point. They were kind of thrust into a race with a low turnout, and they're making it fun for themselves. And it's, again, by no means representative of how they would race in a more competitive or serious environment. And that kind of also pertains to the broadcast. We've been given a race that originally we were planning on this being a fairly large field, akin to what we would see with a normal league race, and then we were kind of given a race that's difficult to broadcast. It's difficult to do work through a race where there's two cars on the lead lap. So we've kind of been goofing around as well up in the booth, just trying to make it entertaining, and that's kind of what's going on. We're not by any means trying to give the impression that this is just normal for this league or for Cody's broadcast or Bird Vision TV. We're just having a good time. The circumstances surrounding this race sort of unfortunately went a certain way, and we're just making the best of it because, that's what you got to do in life. Things happen. As more wrecking happened, the fight continues on pit road. This is like when a WWE match goes into the locker room and they're still fighting. That's kind of what's happening here, but as Chad Edwards pulls up to his pit crew, who have apparently gotten so bored they've taken off their clothes.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Don't think the viewers at home were meant to see that.
Guys that are still out here
Well,
racing for
you two ahead of me. Real proud of you guys. Fantastic driving there.
Oh, and Cameron Stone congratulating people. Wow. Didn't think we would see that with 10.
Nah, it wasn't. Not at all.
All right, I'm gonna take Alonso's job again real quick, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna jump down into pit road. I'm gonna have a word with the drivers real quick. I'll return in a minute. You guys hold down the fort.
Sounds good.
The fort is held down. Currently, as we ride behind the pace car, it sounds like they're going to let these two battle it out, Alonso, for this win here and $40 that has been put on the line.
Yeah, I guess so. It looks like it. I mean, we only got a few laps to go here. Hopefully, they can put on a show. I don't know if Wayne has anything for B Hicks, but maybe he does. Maybe he surprises us here in the end, and he's been holding back a little bit.
Yes, and as we say that, I don't want to take a look. They may have just finished off John. Uh, Chad's car's broke. He's on pit road. Kind of hope they knock it off here to let them finish it out, battling for the lead. As John is still blowing up, and we get ready to go back green here with what I believe is going to be 9 to go here as we cross the line.
All right, I have returned.
All right.
We got a quote. We got a quote from Chad Edwards. He said, "We had to secure Cam's 4th place finish, so I wrecked John." John said, "Screw Chad." And then Cam said something about possibly some incontinence. Anyway, the green flag is flying. The pace car has pulled off the track, and Bryson, again, out to a pretty decent lead as he crosses the line for 8 to go. Wayne Grassy trailing about 6 to 7 car lengths back, trying to close that gap.
Absolutely. And it sounds like somebody's in the wall. If I had to guess, it's these two nitwits back here battling for nothing, really. Just trying to have some fun, seeing if they can cause the most sheet metal damage.
Costrellos way to the inside, down beneath the dashed white line. And Bryson Hixenbaugh up there, still leading the event. These two side by side, not on the same lap, but they are racing it out for fun, I would assume. A lot of damage to that 57. I see some smoke, it looks like. I don't know if that's John Delaney trying to make. Yeah, that's John Delaney still making. Yeah, okay, yep. Anyway, back to your leaders. There's Bryson, Wayne Grassy about a second back. So seems like on this short run, Bryson is actually getting a bit of an advantage, which is kind of surprising to me because it seemed like on the previous run, it was Wayne who had a little bit of short run speed. Now it seems the roles have reversed.
Absolutely, and John's looking like he's just trying to finish this race off, just to make sure he doesn't do anything too stupid. Nope, he tried and failed, and still does something stupid, and there's going to be another caution, I'm sure, which is very unfortunate that they're not going to let these guys finish it off. Actually, no caution comes out, which is awesome. Let these guys finish it off for the battle, and it looks like Wayne's kind of showing some pace here at the very end.
Yeah, Wayne has been very impressive all night long, just keeping his car clean. I'd say Wayne has made the fewest mistakes out of anybody in this field because obviously we haven't had the camera on him quite as much as perhaps Bryson or Delaney, but still that car is pristine, and we've not seen him get up into the wall. We've not seen him get loose. He's pretty much just been doing his own thing, keeping it clean, keeping it consistent, and you got to commend that. I don't think he's ever at any point been the fastest car on the track. But again, I say it every week, racing is about so much more than being the fastest car on the track. You could be the fastest car on the track every time you show up and still never win a race because there's just so many factors you got to string together.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wayne's closed the gap back down to 1 second here with 3 to go as we cross the line.
He is closing in. He seems to have a little bit of pace there, and like I said, in previous runs it was Wayne that had the short run speed, whereas Bryson was more of a long run car. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's going to have time. This is a good camera angle. You can see them both barreling down the backstretch. 1.1 seconds between them as they enter turn 3. Wayne closing the gap ever so slightly, but again, time is not on his side. Ironic considering we've time traveled back to 1987 for this event. But he only has 2 more laps to try and maybe close that gap.
Absolutely. The gap is still about 1.5 seconds here as Cameron Stone does get around Jonathan Delaney without much issue as we go down the backstretch for the second to final time with Bryson Hixenbaugh opening up that gap on Wayne Grassy. Got to think Wayne used up his stuff there, Andre, at the very end.
It could be. It could also just be that he realized he wasn't really going to catch Bryson unless Bryson made a mistake. So he just kind of maybe quit pushing the car so he wouldn't wreck it and just keep it clean and get there at the end. And that could be. But right now, white flag is in the air. Bryson is going to slide it out of turn two. It's always crazy how much these cars really slide on corner exit.
Yeah, we
But-
saw it all night with the drivers. I'll let you bring us home.
Well, that was a different kind of sliding, but Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to round turn 4 and head across the stripe for, luckily, the final time and claim victory in his own event, the 1987
Good race,
Southern
Wayne.
500.
Thanks for coming out.
Wayne Grassy
Yeah, I know it
finishing
wasn't
an impressive
probably the
second
race
after
you
a
expected,
great,
but,
consistent run.
thanks for making it.
1.7 seconds behind the leader.
Well, thanks for
Behind
putting it
him,
on.
your
That was
finishing
fun.
order for the rest of the race: Chad Edwards, Cameron Stone, Jonathan Delaney, Jimmy Costrellas, Kevin Steele, Mason Lowry, and Bryce Hoffman.
And we are done with this race. Normally we would do the top 3 interview, but we're not going to keep you guys here too much longer tonight. Closing in on 4 hours here. We'll let Bryson burn it down a little and then bring him up into the booth. Why don't we go through some of the awards while we're waiting? Obviously, Bryson Hixenbaugh picks up the $40, Wayne Grassy the $25. Chad, I believe, was $15, and then Cameron Stone was, I believe, $10, and Jonathan Delaney $5. And why don't you say we discuss our pick for the Spark Plug Award? In my opinion, I think it should go to Wayne Grassy tonight. Ran a heck of a race, very limited damage. What do you say to that, Alonzo?
I definitely have to agree. I mean, he's definitely my pick. He's the only guy out here that really, besides B Hicks, hasn't made an ass of himself. So I think he deserves it.
And how about you, Andre?
Oh, I gotta agree. I think easily, outside of Bryson Hixenbaugh's dominant speed, I think Wayne was one of the most impressive drivers of the night. Just keeping the car clean and having the patience that he had. I mean, that's the other thing. When he got rear-ended under caution, he could have got mad. He could have freaked out. He could have, but he kind of kept calm. He kept his composure, and he just went about his race and continued to kind of make those smooth, consistent laps like he's done all night long.
Absolutely. So why don't you say we bring Bryson Hixenbaugh up into the booth and interview him and for his event?
Let's get her done.
Bryson Hixenbaugh, this is the guys up at the Bird Vision Nest. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, Bryson. So race is now officially over. Thank you for hosting it and putting on a show. So what did you have to say about the racing here tonight?
Well, I'm not entirely certain we can call it racing, but let's go ahead and say that. I wasn't expecting too much from it because of low turnout. I just wanted to come out here and have some fun with everybody, and we mostly did that, even though there wasn't a whole lot going on track. But there was guys everywhere having fun, joking around for 3 hours, so that was fun.
Absolutely. Now, what was going through your mind as that final caution came out after Jonathan Delaney and Chad Edwards had another run-in?
I was questioning why I didn't DQ everybody but me and Wayne on the last caution.
We kind of had that same thought up here in the booth. Alonzo, you got any questions to ask Bryson here?
Is there something you might adjust if you were to run this event next year?
I probably wouldn't pick Darlington unless we had a lot more people that were eligible to run it. 87 cars are tough for a lot of guys. I wanted to pick a big name event, so Southern 500 made sense to me. Maybe next year we do Daytona 500 or possibly Talladega, but I'm not sure that if we'll be doing that or maybe doing something else in different cars or maybe just a fun race night for everybody.
Absolutely. Andre, you got any questions to add?
No, I mean, I don't really have much to add. It was a great. I mean, we've seen this kind of performance out of you before, Bryson. Just absolute dominance, driving away from the field. I guess the only question I have is, were you at all nervous in that last caution? Because Wayne really picked up a lot of speed as the race went on. It seemed like lap after lap he was getting a better feel for the car, and by the end he had pace that was pretty much on par with your own. So what was going through your mind in that last caution?
Yeah, he was doing a great job all race. When I got loose a little bit and he got the lead, I was real surprised at how fast he was, and that he was holding the gap on me, and he pulled away for a little bit before I caught back up to him. He was really making it work with a line that I wouldn't have expected would run well at all. But he had it working. He was smooth and consistent with it, and he did a great job. And I just knew I had to get a good jump on that last restart and then not make any mistakes. And I had it a little bit too loose for the short run, but there's not a whole lot I could have done to fix that in the pit stop adjustments, so I just had to hang on to it.
Absolutely. So is there anyone you would like to thank for today's race?
Sponsor Knee High Septic. Got to thank them for jumping on board, and they paid basically nothing for this, but we'll shout them out anyways. I mean, what can you expect when the viewership of this race there's 9 people in it? Who the hell is going to be watching this?
We actually had 40 people watch tonight. Thank you very much. Not all at one time.
Oh my god, I am so sorry to all 40 viewers.
Currently there's only 7 people watching. And I don't even think they're actually watching. So, but we want to thank you for putting on a great event. Wish the racing was a little bit better. But I know me, Andre, and Alonzo had fun up here in the booth, even through some of John's antics. But, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for broadcasting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem.
And that was your winner, Bryson Hixenbaugh. So, guys, just wrapping this up, make it short and sweet. It was a fun time with you guys. Glad we could all make it tonight.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me once again.
Yeah, it was good having you in here, Alonzo. Cody, it was fun as always. You do a great job up here in the booth, and I was enjoying broadcasting with you, and we're looking forward to the IROC race week after next. So we had an off week, and then we'll be back for the IROC series at, actually, I kind of forgot, Rockingham. So that'll be fun. But, yeah, fun race tonight, fun race coming up pretty soon. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. This is Cody, Alonzo, and Andre up in the booth. Want to thank you again for coming out to the 1987 Southern 500, and we will look forward to seeing you next time here at Bird Vision TV. And ended. 3 hours.